नमस्कार एंड गुड मॉर्निंग। हेल्थ फॉर ऑल में हम एक बार फिर हाजिर हैं नए एपिसोड के साथ। कोविड-19 वायरस का डर नमस्कार एंड गुड मॉर्निंग। हेल्थ फॉर हर बार ये एक बार नए वेरिएंट के रूप में हमारे सामने खड़ा हो जाता है। इस समय पूरा देश ओमिक्रॉन वेरिएंट की चपेट में है। कल हो सकता है कोई नया वेरिएंट आ जाए, तो हमने सोचा कि अब अगर वेरिएंट के साथ ही हमें कोरोना के साथ ही जीना है, तो क्यों ना कोविड मैनेजमेंट के तरीके से जान समझ लें। इसलिए हमने आज के एपिसोड का टॉपिक कोमॉर्बिडिटीज एंड कोविड मैनेजमेंट रखा है, जिसमें हमें अलग अलग फील्ड के डॉक्टर्स ये बताएंगे कि अगर आपको पहले से कोई गंभीर बीमारी है तो कोरोना होने पर क्या करना चाहिए और क्या नहीं, क्योंकि अन्य बीमारियों के साथ कोविड इन्फेक्शन ज्यादा घातक होता है। तो अगले 3 घंटे तक हम इसी विषय के विभिन्न पहलुओं पर चर्चा करेंगे और हमारे और आपके मन में उठने वाले सवालों के जवाब उनसे लेंगे। हमारा ये शो अगले 3 घंटे तक YouTube और Facebook पर लाइव रहेगा। तो शो को आगे बढ़ाने से पहले सबसे पहले हम देखते हैं हमेशा की तरह ये राउंड अप वीडियो। नमस्कार, हेल्थ फॉर ऑल के नए एपिसोड के साथ हम हाजिर हैं। बचपन से हम सुनते आए हैं कि पेट की बीमारी लगभग सभी बीमारियों की जड़ है। पेट को ठीक रखो और स्वस्थ रहो। आज हमने इसी को ध्यान में रखकर विषय चुना है। आज का टॉपिक है गैस्ट्रो, लिवर और बिलियरी डिजीज, कारण और निवारण।
Dr. Sanjay Rai is currently professor at Center for Community Medicine, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi. He is also the editor of the prestigious World Health Organization Southeast Asia Journal of Public Health. Speaking to him will be Dr. Swadeep Srivastava, one of top health communicators and the founder of Heal Foundation and Heal Health, which have been at the forefront of healthcare awareness through healthcare communication and has been instrumental in creating campaigns and platforms for healthcare improvements in India for the last 2 decades.
Is looking at the COVID-19 vaccination status and the natural infection, we can say that very soon the majority of us will be getting an infection, and then this virus will convert into endemic. says Dr. Sanjay K. Rai. He told ANI in a statement. Then WHO came out with this statement: the COVID-19 pandemic is far from over. The World Health Organization chief said, cautioning against a narrative that the fast-spreading Omicron variant is risk-free. This pandemic is nowhere near over, said Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus told reporters from the WHO's headquarters in Geneva. Is it contradictory, or you both are pressing on the same point in different ways?
ये गवर्न करता है कि हमारी जो है एक्वायर्ड इम्यूनिटी है कितनी सस्टेन कर रही है. सो बेस्ड ऑन द करंट एविडेंसेस ये है कि वैक्सीन इज रिड्यूसिंग सिवियरिटी एंड डेथ, बट वाज अ वेनिंग ऑफ प्रोटेक्शन हो रहा है आफ्टर 6 months, यूजुअली आफ्टर 6 months. दैट्स व्हाई ऑल ओवर वर्ल्ड जो है दे हैव रिकमेंडेड बूस्टर, राइट. बट नेचुरल इन्फेक्शन के बाद अभी वेनिंग नहीं हो रहा है. सो सिवियरिटी एंड डेथ जो है नेचुरल इन्फेक्शन, द वे ओमिक्रॉन इज इन्फेक्टिंग पीपल all over world, not only in India. फ्रांस जैसी छोटी कंट्री में रोज 5 लाख हो रहे हैं, 10 लाख यूएस में हो रहे हैं, ऑलमोस्ट पूरे वर्ल्ड में मोर देन 30 लाख केसेस. सो द वे इट्स स्प्रेडिंग वेरी फास्ट स्प्रेड हो रहा है, तो ये लग रहा है कि मेजॉरिटी ऑफ पॉपुलेशन विल गेट इन्फेक्शन. एंड बेस्ड ऑन द करंट एविडेंसेस वी कैन से दैट दोज हु रिकवर्ड फ्रॉम द कोविड दे आर द बेस्ट प्रोटेक्टेड पर्सन ऑन दिस अर्थ. इसको देख के लगता है कि टुमारो इन्फेक्शन में आकर कोई नया वेरिएंट आएगा. दिस इज ए आरएनए वायरस, म्यूटेशंस होते रहेंगे, बट इम्पैक्ट विल बी लो. सो अगर पब्लिक हेल्थ प्रॉब्लम नहीं रहते, जस्ट लाइक कॉमन कोल्ड अगर हो रहा है, सो दैट इज वेरी लाइकली कि ये जो करेगा. एंड बेस्ड ऑन द करंट एविडेंसेस, डेथ रेट ओमिक्रॉन का यू कैन नॉट कंपेयर विद डेथ रेट ऑफ ये कि वहां कुछ समय 2% वैक्सीनेशन था, नाउ से 70% वैक्सीनेशन. दैट्स व्हाई वी आर प्रोटेक्टेड. सो वी आर कंपेयरिंग एप्पल विथ ऑरेंजेस. कई पब्लिकेशंस आ चुकी हैं फ्रॉम दिस योर इजराइल. One publication, and they compared vaccinated group, Pfizer vaccine के साथ naturally infected unvaccinated group, and they found even after 1 year, क्योंकि infection पहले हुआ था, 1300% better protected those who recovered from the COVID and have not taken vaccine than those who had 2 doses of vaccine. So अगर आप unvaccinated or vaccinated group, definitely vaccinated group better protected, right? लेकिन अगर आप natural infection versus those who recovered from natural infection and vaccine से करें, तो natural infected group is much better protected. Even beyond any comparison, अगर age adjusted कर लें तो 2700%, it's not 30%, 50% जो हम बाकी की बात करते हैं, it's a 2700 better protection from the severity and death if you recovered from the COVID. So these are the evidences. We must use evidences. So why they not recommended कि जिनको नहीं हुआ उन्हीं को ये करो? How is this going to improve? All over world, if you see the data, तो उनका obsession है about the vaccine. Science के प्रति obsession नहीं है. It's a obsession for the vaccine only.
The topic is gastro, liver, and biliary diseases, causes and prevention.
कुछ डॉक्टर कहते हैं कि जिनको गैस या पेट संबंधित कोई भी प्रॉब्लम है तो दूध या अन्य डेयरी प्रोडक्ट नहीं लेना चाहिए. कुछ डॉक्टर कहते हैं नहीं, इस पे कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. क्या करना चाहिए इसमें?
देखिए, कोई भी राय जब दी जाती है तो सारी परिस्थिति समझनी पड़ती है मरीज की, उसके क्या लक्षण हैं, कब से हैं, किस बैकग्राउंड में हैं. लेकिन मोटे तौर पे मॉडर्न मेडिसिन में प्योर मिल्क, दूध को बहुत अच्छा नहीं समझा जाता है. एंड इसका जो कॉन्सेप्ट है वो है लैक्टोज इंटॉलरेंस का. तो हम लोग मोटे तौर पे राय देते हैं कि हर इंसान भोजन वही करेगा जो उसको अपने अनुभव से अनुकूल बैठता है. लेकिन स्पेशली जब डाइजेशन के लक्षण हो, गैस हो, ब्लोटिंग हो, इनडाइजेशन हो, स्टूल्स में समस्या हो, तो कुछ समय प्योर मिल्क रोक दिया जाता है. हमारे यहाँ कर्ड, दही, पनीर, इस सबको अच्छा समझा जाता है. लेकिन होल मिल्क को कई परिस्थितियों में, स्पेशली कई बड़ी आंत की बीमारियां, उसके दौरान जब वो एक्टिव होती हैं, तो कुछ समय के लिए पूरे दूध का सेवन को निश्चित रूप से रोकते हैं. तो वैसे तो परिस्थिति को पूरी तरीके से जांच करके समझ करके राय दी जाती है, लेकिन प्योर होल मिल्क जो है कई इंडिविजुअल्स उम्र के साथ टॉलरेट नहीं करते हैं. लेकिन उसी सांस में हम लोग ये बात भी समझाते हैं कि कई ऐसे वृद्धावस्था वाले लोग हैं जो केवल दूध के ऊपर जिंदा है, तो यदि उनको वो माफिक बैठ रहा है, टॉलरेट करते हैं, तो उसमें कोई रोकने की बात नहीं होती है। तो हर सिचुएशन को इंडिविजुअलाइज करना पड़ता है, लेकिन मॉडर्न मेडिसिन में प्योर मिल्क को लेकर के कुछ रिजर्वेशन जरूर है। लैक्टोज इंटॉलरेंस, जो होल मिल्क में प्रोटीन पाया जाता है, उससे कई इंडिविजुअल्स को सेंसिटिविटी होती है। और दूसरी बात कि उम्र के साथ मिल्क को बचाने की जो एंजाइम है, उसकी कमी शरीर में होती जाती है।
Percentage of chronic liver diseases are alcoholic and non-alcoholic, and what's the etiological difference between the two?
If we say that there are 5 most common causes of liver disease, if I properly say that liver disease most common causes, then most common causes are alcoholic liver disease, hepatitis C is the most common cause of liver disease, then alcoholic, then non-alcoholic fatty liver, then hepatitis B, and then autoimmune diseases. These 5 constitute the most important and most common causes of liver diseases. So alcoholic liver disease, if we say then that depends upon your alcohol intake. There is a rise, significant rise of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease now in this country. There was a recent data which was published from ILBS that they did a school survey of patients in children in New Delhi, South Delhi schools. And it was amazing to find that they found that 70% of the children in schools have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease now in South Delhi. That's a huge number. If we talk about alcohol, then we usually say that each whiskey 30 ml is equivalent to 10 grams of alcohol. So if we say anybody takes 3 to 5 pegs or 30 to 50 grams of alcohol per week, if they take more than that, and if they have any fatty liver disease or liver disease, we talk it as it is alcoholic liver disease. अगर कोई एक हफ्ते में 5 पेग 6 पेग्स ज्यादा ले रहा है अपने विस्की के और उसको लिवर डिजीज है, तो उस इंसान को अल्कोहलिक लिवर डिजीज है।
डॉक्टर साहब, एक चीज देखा गया है, कोविड इन्फेक्शन के बाद बहुत लोगों में लिवर इन्फेक्शन की शिकायत आती है। जीजीटीपी बढ़ गया या एलटी रेशियो बढ़ गया, इस तरह के कई समस्याएं आती है। क्या इसकी कोई और वजह है या कोविड रिलेटेड प्रॉब्लम है?
देखिए, एसजीओटी एसजीपीटी बढ़ना लिवर में इन्फ्लेमेशन का इंडिकेटर होता है। ये मल्टीपल रीजन से हो सकता है। तो जब भी एसजीओटी एसजीपीटी बढ़ा होता है, आप एक तो बैकग्राउंड हिस्ट्री देखते हैं कि क्या ये इंसान पहले अल्कोहल लेता था। दूसरे कारण हेपेटाइटिस बी सी जो कॉमनेस्ट रीजंस होंगे। कोविड स्पेसिफिक अगर हम देखें तो 2 इश्यूज होती है कि जैसे कोविड एक तरह का वायरस है, किसी भी वायरल इन्फेक्शन में, जैसे डेंगू में एसजीओटी एसजीपीटी बढ़ जाता है, तो कोविड में भी एसजीओटी एसजीपीटी बढ़ जाता है। और ये देखा गया है कि ये जो ACE2 रिसेप्टर्स होते हैं जिसके जरिए ये लंग में घुसता है, ये ACE2 रिसेप्टर्स इंटेस्टाइन में, बिलियरी सिस्टम में, पैंक्रियास में, लिवर में, हर जगह होते हैं। एक कारण वो होता है। दूसरा, ड्रग इंड्यूस्ड जो काफी सारी दवाइयां यूज की जाती हैं, खास करके इसमें रेमडेसिविर हेपेटोटॉक्सिक मेडिसिन एक तरह से होती है। तो एक डेफिनेट लेवल से अगर एसजीओटी एसजीपीटी बढ़ा हो तो रेमडेसिविर यूज करना मुश्किल होता है। और जब हम रेमडेसिविर यूज करते हैं तो एसजीओटी एसजीपीटी को मॉनिटर करते हैं। और इसी तरह से और भी मल्टीपल मेडिकेशंस होती है जिसके कारण एसजीओटी एसजीपीटी बढ़ जाता है। अगर ये एक निश्चित लेवल से ज्यादा नहीं बढ़ा है तो ये ज्यादा चिंताजनक बात नहीं है। अगर ये कोविड रिलेटेड है, टाइम के साथ ये नॉर्मल आ जाए।
Fat, fertile female of 40 is the saying about gallstones. Can you elaborate on this?
Sir, gallstones is one of the very common problems we see. Many people, they are 2 subgroup of people जो हम normally देखते हैं। एक सब ग्रुप वो होता है कि भाई उन्होंने गए अल्ट्रासाउंड कराने और उनको स्टोन मिल गया, they come to us without any symptoms. Second group is that patient जिनको severe pain होता है and they come to us with a symptomatic gallstones. Now the approach इसका जो gallstone का है, जो हम मतलब आप जो मैनेजमेंट लेके चलते हैं कि अगर पेशेंट को दर्द हो गया तो उसमें तो हम डायरेक्ट एडवाइस करते हैं कि भाई आप गॉल ब्लैडर सर्जरी कराइए। आजकल तो इट्स लैप्रोस्कोपिक सर्जरी कॉल्ड लैप्रोस्कोपिक कोलिसिस्टेक्टमी, जिसमें हम गॉल ब्लैडर निकाल देते हैं। बट द मेजर दूसरा ग्रुप रहता है जिसको एसिम्प्टोमेटिक होता है। ये इसमें क्या है कि द ग्रुप ऑफ थॉट इज डिफरेंट इन नॉर्थ एंड साउथ, because north में there is an increased incidence of gallbladder cancer, so there are more aggressive. In South India, we see a little less incidence of जो gallbladder का cancer है, so we keep these patients under follow up. So हमारा जो approach रहता है, agree with those three are the risk factors for gallbladder. मगर जो हमारा management रहता है, mainly जो हमारे symptoms पे रहता है. ये जैसा अभी सर फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन पूछा था कि भाई किसी को इतना सीवियर पेन होता है कि उसको चक्कर आके गिर जा रहा है, ऐसे पेन में हम कभी गाल ब्लैडर में जो होता है इट्स अ वेरी सीवियर पेन जो यूजुअली रात में आता है, 2-3 बजे 2 से 3 घंटे लगता है, नॉर्मली फैटी फूड से आता है, और ये पेशेंट्स को रात में इंजेक्शन या दे हैव टू टेक सम मेडिकेशन. तो ऐसे जब सिम्टम्स आते हैं गाल ब्लैडर स्टोन में, तो देन यू विल हैव टू गो फॉर अ सर्जिकल.
What are the chronic liver diseases that can be effectively treated with liver transplant, and what is the success rate?
So all liver diseases can be treated with liver transplant. See, you have a chronic का मतलब पुरानी liver disease. See, understand some point that for every disease there is a compensated phase, there is a decompensated phase. हर बीमारी कोई भी चीज की हो तो पहले एक फेज है, जैसे मैं इसका एग्जांपल अपने हाथ से लेता हूँ कि मेरा हाथ आग में गया तो सूजेगा, ठीक होगा तो सिकुड़ेगा. Now, even if this hand is become like this, but I'm able to write, I'm able to do my procedures, then it's not that this hand is normal. तो जब हम अल्कोहल पी के अपने लिवर को तोड़ रहे हैं, उसके अंदर थोड़ी सी फाइब्रोसिस कर रहे हैं, उसमें थोड़ा करने हैं, मैंने छोड़ दी, अब मेरी लिवर रिपोर्ट्स ठीक हो गई, तो have you become absolutely normal? No, you have damaged yourself slightly, but that liver is working good. But once you keep on doing this similar damage more and more, that becomes to that level that now I can't work. This is decompensation. So liver disease की decompensation हम तब कहते हैं जब आपको persistent jaundice रह रहा है, आपके पेट में पानी भर गया, पेट के पानी का infection हो गया, आपको खून की उल्टी हो गई, या आपको इसकी वजह से किडनी का फेलियर हो गया, या आपको बेहोशी रहने लग गई, एन्सेफेलोपैथी रहने लग गई.
Hello and welcome back. We start the first session with yoga on obesity management. We have with us Dr. Pooja Pandey, a certified yoga expert, an expert in aerobics and Zumba, and runs Arogya Physiotherapy. She has been combining all these techniques for better living. She is the creative spirit behind her successful YouTube channel called Arogya Physio Tips. Over to you, Dr. Pandey, and glad to see you again on our show. Over to you. You have time till 8:58.
Yes, I will finish by 8:55.
Okay.
Okay. So today the topic for yoga is obesity for yoga. Okay. So very important thing to understand here is when we talk about obesity, we also have to talk about being lean. Okay. So I don't think so. Being lean or obesity is a disease. Not being fit in your body frame is a problem. You agree with me? Because at the end of the day, even if I'm thin and I feel fatigue and I feel weak, okay, and I am only surviving on salad and not eating anything to give me energy is also a problem. Why I am telling this, especially in the obesity place, because I make almost 150 to 170 women exercise. And I know people who have not eaten food for 3 years, 4 years, just because there is so much havoc about obesity. Okay. So we have to realize that obesity may not be disease, but not being fit is a disease. Okay. Is a problem. Okay. So even if I am slightly on the fatter side, but I am able to do 200 stairs comfortably, then I am in a better place. Okay. So first you have to understand that obesity, I cannot have a goal where I want to reduce 10 kg in 1 month. Okay. Don't have such kind of goals. You may end up losing a lot of muscle mass. You may end up actually harming your body more than that. So first is weight loss is a very slow and steady journey. Okay. I always tell that yoga is a lifestyle. To practice yoga, you have to become yogi. Okay. So if I want to lose my weight through yoga, you have to understand just by doing some yoga asana, it will not happen. It is a process. You have to have 8 hours of sleep. Okay. 8 to 9 hours of sleep where you are allowing your body to rest completely. People ask me that, we are doing every single thing, but we are not losing weight. Our blood counts are, everything is fine, but we are not losing weight. I said, do you sleep? And they get shocked that, by sleeping, you can lose weight. Yes. If you are well rested, your mind is well rested, you are stress free, your body is well rested, it will respond to yoga much better. Okay. So first is you need to sleep. You need to have water. Okay. Water, hydration. If I am 20 kg, I have to have 1 liter of water. So imagine if you're 60 kg, 3 kg. And now somebody who is 80 kg has to have 4 liters of water. So if you're not having water properly, you will not lose weight. Okay. Then the third thing, which is very, very important, is are you eating a balanced food? If you are eating 4 days of salad and 5th day going out and eating in McDonald's, it's not going to work with yoga, with anything, you will not lose weight. Okay. So it is very important that you have a balanced food. Fourth, as a yogi, you need to master this. If you are a yogi, you don't eat anything after 7. Okay. That is a yoga practice. That is a Ayurveda practice. That is something which everybody has been telling you, that before you go to sleep, your food has to be digested. Okay. So if you are eating by 7:30, then by the time you sleep 10:30, then your body will be, your food will be digested. Otherwise, you are just eating rubbish, because before you sleep, your food is all there. You are eating at 10 o'clock. You will not lose weight. Why I'm telling you before telling the yoga asanas? Because these component has to be sorted. You can't just do, I am doing 10 Surya Namaskara, 20 Surya Namaskara, 108 Surya Namaskara, and I'm not losing weight. You need to understand losing weight is a process, and you need to follow the whole process. 180-degree change of your lifestyle has to happen for you to lose weight healthily. Otherwise you can stop eating and then you can lose weight. That everybody is doing, or eat only protein and just forget about carbohydrate. Remember, carbohydrate also gives you energy. You need carbs in your body. Okay, maybe less, but you need them. Okay. So when I say that you can lose weight through yoga, you need to understand these 4 or 5 components which I've talked about has to be sorted. Only if this is sorted, then you do yoga asanas, then you will lose weight. Okay. Now, when I talk about losing weight in yoga, with yoga, there are different things which we can do. Okay. So one is Shat Kriya. When I say Shat Kriya, basically it is cleansing process. So when say for example, neti, jal neti, all of us would have heard, where we take from one place. And so yoga says that if you want to improve your metabolism, you want to improve your overall health, you want to lose weight, everything has to be clear. And that's the reason Shatkriya Karam, where they actually, from rectum to nose, they clean and clear every single thing. Now, Shatkriyas has to be learned under somebody's supervision. It cannot be learned under an online class. Okay. Where they actually clear, or you have to go to a Ayurveda center where they perform this and they clear your rectum. It's almost like an anema. Okay, they give you a special ghee and they tell you to go to toilet as many times as possible. So there are processes. When you want to lose weight, you start with Kriya. Okay, you start first, you clear your body for it to start losing weight. Every day eating rubbish creates so much toxins in our body. So first is clear the toxins. Okay. The second is yogasanas. Okay. Now, when I talk about yogasanas, I've been talking about yogasanas from the start of this program. Okay. And when I talk about yogasana, you need to understand one. I can't tell you these are the 10 yogasanas which you will do and you will lose weight. I don't think so. Okay. You have to build your stamina with yoga. Okay. Now, when I say some yogasanas which can definitely help in losing weight are the yogasanas which are basically forward bending, because you are using your abdominal muscles to forward bend. Okay. So it decreases the fat around the abdominal area. So if I do something called Paschimottanasana, or if I do Naukasana, then it is definitely helpful. Now, when I say Naukasana, you need to perform, basically, you need to go down and then come up and hold, toes pointing towards yourself, and hold this pose for 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You don't hold your breath in any of the yogasana. Okay. Very important is you don't hold your breath. Now, another forward bending pose which we can do is Paschimottanasana, where I go down. You need to go down, not from your back, from your hip. So you go down from your hip, try to go down as much as possible and hold this pose. Try to bend your elbow as much as possible. Hold this pose. Okay, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, and relax. So all the forward bending pose will help you lose weight. Okay, so even if I do anything in which I am bending forward, I will, if I go all the way back and I come forward and touch my toe, of course I will start losing weight, because This all works on your abdominal area. The second asana, which will help you lose weight, is twisting. Okay. So when I twist, for example, this is Gomukhasana, and in Gomukhasana, I basically twist. Okay. So then I'm working on the side fat. Okay. So all the asanas in which I twist, breathe out, go other way around. So all the asana, even if I do a spinal twist in which I take my leg, cross it over and take it to the other side, this will also help in losing weight, because this is all working on your abdominal area. So you need to understand, one is all the asanas, which is basically forward bending, will help you lose weight. Second, all the twisting asanas, where you are twisting your body, will help you lose weight. Third, which is very, very popular among people, are Surya Namaskara. I have demonstrated Surya Namaskara in earlier classes, but I will do. So you can not only do Surya Namaskara, you also have to do, you can also do a lot of variation in Surya Namaskara. But now we need to very much understand that if I am ready to do a Surya Namaskara or not, so whether my blood pressure are all okay or not, whether so you need to understand that one sudden day you are 100 kg and one sudden day you can't decide that I want to do Surya Namaskara. You have to be fit enough to do Surya Namaskara. You can't be having bilateral arthritis and doing a Surya Namaskara. Why I'm saying this? Because I'm also a physiotherapist. So you need to understand that when you are starting to lose Surya Namaskara, you have to also understand whether your body is taking it. Always listen to your body, what signals you are giving. So if your body is tearing apart, you are having excruciating pain, you are not able to perform because you have a back problem and you are not able to perform the forward bending poses, you can't tell yourself that no, I want to lose weight, I have to do this and I will do this. ऐसा नहीं चलेगा. तो आपको याद रखना है कि अगर आप सूर्य नमस्कार कर रहे हैं या इनमें से कोई भी आसना कर रहे हैं, तो आपकी बॉडी उसके लिए फिट होनी चाहिए. ओके, आप आराम से करना चाहिए, मतलब आप कंप्लीटली ब्रेथलेस होके, या यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड कि योगा में आपको ब्रेथ के साथ कनेक्ट होना बहुत ही जरूरी है. ओके, सो आई विल जस्ट परफॉर्म सूर्य नमस्कारा without the variations and with the variations. Okay, तो आप ये variations तभी करें जब आपकी बॉडी कंफर्टेबल है. इसीलिए मैं बार बार बोल रही हूँ, क्योंकि यहाँ पे हम क्लास नहीं ले रहे और आपने बोला अच्छा पूजा मैम ने बोला है सूर्य नमस्कार करने को और कल को घुटने दर्द हो गए तो मेरे पास मत आइएगा. मैं आपको बता रही हूँ कि अगर आपके घुटने दर्द हो रहे हैं तो आपको एक योगा टीचर के पास जाना चाहिए या फिर एक फिजियोथेरेपिस्ट के पास जाना चाहिए जो आपको बता सके कि पहले घुटने का दर्द कैसे कम करें. ओके, सो वील स्टार्ट विद सूर्य नमस्कारा. You're able to see me? Okay. So basically, you come, breathe in. Okay. Breathe out, you go all the way back. Breathe in, breathe out, you go all the way down. Okay. Keep your right leg forward. You can keep your left leg forward or right leg forward. That's all dependent on you. Okay. Now, for example, I am in this pose. I can do warrior pose. So I will come up and I will do a warrior pose. 1, 2, 3, which becomes a variation in Surya Namaskara. Okay. Or I go here and I go back bend. Okay. Again, a variation on Surya Namaskara. So you can combine this and do a 45 minutes program in which you are doing all the asanas. Okay. Now, keep your right leg back. You are in Dandasana or high plank pose. You can actually tap your shoulder and do a variation. This is not a part of Surya Namaskara, but when you want to lose weight, you basically do lot of variation. Now, Ashtanga Namaskara. So, your chin, your chest, your knee, and your ankle, everything is touching the ground. Okay. Breathe in to Cobra. And breathe out to mountain. Now I am in mountain pose. Your heel is completely down. I keep my one leg up, toes pointing up. Hold it there. Don't hold your breath. 1, 2, 3. This is a variation. You need to understand all these are variation. 10 and relax. You can keep the other leg up. 1, 2. Breathe in, breathe out. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you keep your left leg forward. Okay? Come down. Keep your right leg forward. Look forward. Okay? And go up in chair pose. So you can do a chair pose and hold it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and relax. Okay. So you need to understand that though there are 12 poses in Surya Namaskara, we do 12 on the right side, then 12 on the left side, making it 24. Okay. But you need to understand that you can do lot of variation in this cycle itself. You can bring 30 more poses just to this cycle. And you can, I'm telling you, if you do this for half an hour, you will be sweating like anything. Okay. So you can do it like a cycle with variation, with making it slightly harder, but listening to your body. Very, very important is listening to your body. So which all asanas are basically helpful in losing weight? I said forward bending, twisting asanas. Third is Surya Namaskara. Fourth is backward bends. Okay. So all in which we are bending backward is basically very good. So one of the very, very good poses of backward bend is Dhanurasana, and it helps in losing weight because it helps in improving your metabolism. So Dhanurasana, how do you do that? You lie down on your tummy and you hold your ankle and you come up. You hold it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and relax. So you can do all the backward bend. So these are the 4 positions. There are thousands of asanas which can help you lose weight, but these are the 4 positions which can help you lose it. 1, forward bending. 2, twisting. 3, the Surya Namaskara or the Hatha Yoga as a sequence. Okay. The 4th is backward bend. So all these 4 asanas will help you lose weight. Now, another thing which is very, very popular among all the yogis for losing weight is Kapalbhati. Okay. So if you are not a high blood pressure person, because this can't be done by a high blood pressure. Okay. So if you are not a high blood pressure, if you're not pregnant and all that thing is not there, then you can do something called Kapalbhati. Okay. Now, Kapalbhati is a kind of pranayam. Okay. It is actually one of the Shat Kriyas as well. It helps in cleansing. Okay. And improving your metabolism. It gives a massage effect to your internal organ. Okay. So how do you do Kapalbhati? I have performed before, but I will perform it again. Breathe in. You have to understand. Many people does this. Okay. This is not Kapalbhati. Okay. You need to understand in Kapalbhati, you breathe in normally, you breathe out forcefully using your abdominal muscles. Okay. Using your abdominal muscles. So When I do a Kapalbhati, it will be normal breath in and breathe out. One more breath in and breathe out completely. In Kapalbhati, breathe in. Okay, that cough was not the part of Kapalbhati. Okay, so you breathe in and you use your abdominal muscle. So you are seeing that when I'm breathing in, there is no sound at all. Only when I'm breathing out, there is a sound. How many times I should do Kapalbhati? As much time you are comfortable. If you're comfortable doing it for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, please go ahead. But if you're not comfortable, then 20, 20, 20. So 3 cycles of Kapalbhati, you do 20 breath, then take a break, 20 breath, then take a break, 20 breath, then take a break. Okay, so you need to understand, you can do it either in cycle or a continuous breath if you are comfortable. Okay, always, I have always insisted, you need to be comfortable with whatever you are doing. Okay, now, so that was basically Shatkriya. I told you about Yogasanas. I told you Kapalbhati. Now another, I can't say that, this pranayam help in losing weight, but this pranayam is very, very good in losing stress. You need to understand, if you are stressed, you cannot lose weight. I work with, मैं बहुत सारी महिलाओं के साथ काम करती हूँ जो बेसिकली बच्चा कंसीव करना चाहती है और वो कर नहीं पाती है बिकॉज इतना स्ट्रेस है. ओके, तो आपको ये याद रखना है, या वेट लूज करना चाहती है, पीसीओएस है एंड वो नहीं कर पाती हैं बिकॉज स्ट्रेस है, तो आपका स्ट्रेस भी कम करना है अगर इफ यू वांट टू लूज वेट. So Brahmari is one of the things which I tell all my patients or all my people who want to lose weight, that you should do Kapalbhati, you should do Brahmari. Okay, now Brahmari I do with Swarnamay Mudra. मैं Swarnamay Mudra में करती हूँ. 2 उंगलियों को आंखों पे रखें, एक उंगली नाक के नीचे, एक उंगली मुंह के नीचे. 2 fingers on the eyes, 1 down the nostril, 1 down the lips, and thumb closing your earlobe. Breathe in normally and breathe out. Breathe in for Brahmari. And relax. Okay, Brahmari is very, very good for meditation. Okay, so anytime you want to meditate, you can do Brahmari and meditate. Okay, 10 breaths, and your whole emotion cycle will change. Your stress will automatically get released. What you have to do, you have to breathe in normally. While breathing out, you say, that's all. Okay, with your thumb, you can give pressure. Okay, you can release pressure, you can give a constant pressure, that depends upon you. Okay, so Brahmari is another, again I'm telling you, it is not directly I will do 10 breath and I will get thin. It is not like that. It will reduce your stress, which will help you to understand your body better. Okay, which will help you to reduce your PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, if you have gained obesity because of PCOS. Okay, polycystic ovarian syndrome is very, very common these days in teenager girls and lot of young women. तो उसकी वजह से बहुत सारी औरतों को obesity हो रहा है. तो उसके लिए when you know that your stress is causing you weight gain, there are a lot of depression patient, anxiety patient who end up eating all rubbish food and gain weight. So all those people, for reducing stress, Brahmari is good. The third very good pranayam for your weight loss is Kapalbhati. Again, it is 20, 20, 20. 3 cycles, 20 breath, take a break, 20 breath, take a break, 20 breath. Okay. Now, what do you do in this? You sit in Vajrasana. Okay. So you sit in Vajrasana. If you have knee pain, then you will completely sit in Sukhasana. Loose fist in front of your shoulder. Okay. Smile on your face. Always remember, yoga you do with a smile, not a bad face. Okay. Smile on your face. Take a long deep breath in and breathe out. In Bhastrika, breathe in, breathe out. Okay, so what do we do in Bhastrika? We breathe in normally. Okay, we breathe in normally. We breathe out with force. Okay, that's what we do. Okay, breathe in normally, breathe out with force. That's what we do. So don't do. This is wrong. Okay, you have to loosen up your shoulder. You have to breathe in normally, breathe out with force. Okay, so that's basically your Kapal Bhati. Okay, now Kapal Bhati, Bhastrika and Brahmari. Okay, so Kapal Bhati what? That's your abdominal breathing. Second, Brahmari, which is basically to reduce your stress. Third, Bhastrika, which is again a forceful expiration. Always remember that when you want to lose weight, you do pranayam in which normal inspiration, forceful expiration. Why? Because you want to expire more, you want to take out the toxins more from your body. Okay, so that's your pranayam. Now there is something called bandhas, which is used to reduce weight. Okay, bandhas. Bandhas, as they say, it closes. Okay, so I will come slightly more nearer to teach you bandhas. Okay, now if you look at my stomach. Okay, so the first bandha which I am treating is Uddiyana bandha. Okay, how do you do that? So you inspire and expire, and then you hold your breath and do abdominal massage. Okay, so how do? You inspire normally, expire, you crunch your abdomen. And you relax. Okay, so while doing your Uddiyana bandhas, one, you have to be empty stomach. You cannot do it after your breakfast. Anyways, all the yogasanas you cannot do just after your food. You take a 2-hour break at least. But Uddiyana bandha you should definitely do in the morning, first thing after you have got up and you have not taken your breakfast. Before that, you should do Uddiyana bandha. Again, I'm telling you, you normally breathe in, breathe out, you hold your breath, you hold your abdominal muscles. And you take it in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And you go slightly forward and you hold the ground and you do this. Okay, so that's why Uddiyana bandha. Remember, on the bandhas, you will have closing. That's why it's called bandhas. Okay, आप कुछ जैसे close कर रहे हैं, बंद कर रहे हैं, इसीलिए इसको bandhas बोलते हैं. Okay, now the second bandhas which I will be teaching is basically second bandhas which you can do is Viparit Karni. Now, what is Viparit Karni? All the asanas in which your leg is up. Okay, all the asanas in which your leg is up, they come into Viparit Karni, where you are standing with bandha and your leg is up. Okay, now you can do shoulder stand, you can do head stand. If you cannot do any one of them and you have problem in doing them because you feel that so much strength is not in your shoulder, then you can just keep the leg against the wall and just be there with your hands outside. So either I put my leg against the wall So imagine if there is a wall in front and I keep my leg against the wall and just be in this pose. That's good bandha, okay? You have to keep your toes towards yourself. That's why it's called Vipareet Karni, because it is against the gravity. You are taking the leg against the gravity. The second, which I told, is shoulder stand, which you can do. Okay, shoulder stand. I need to take the clutcher. Okay. For shoulder stand, you have to lie down comfortably or easily, okay? And take your leg up, and with the help of the shoulder, you bring your buttocks up, okay? So that's your shoulder stand, and you hold it there. Even halasana can you do, where you take your leg all the way back. And slowly, when you feel uncomfortable, you slowly bend your knee and slowly come down. So all the asanas, Vipareet Karni, in which you are going against the gravity, is also very, very, very good kriya for your losing weight. Okay. So if you go for any of the yoga class, they will make you either put legs against the wall, or they will make you do shoulder stand, or they will make you do head stand, where they keep the head down and keep the legs up. So that also helps in losing weight. Another bandha is basically chin against the chest. So you basically use this and you keep breathing in. So you breathe in. When you breathe out from the mouth and you apply this bandha. So breathe in. And relax. Okay. So what you do is chin against the chest. You breathe in normally, breathe out from the mouth. When you are, how you will breathe out? As if you are blowing a candle. जैसे आप कैंडल को बुझा रहे हैं, आप वैसे ब्रीद आउट करेंगे और चिन को चेस्ट के अगेंस्ट लाएंगे, and you will hold the breath and you will hold the bandha. Okay. So that's your third bandha. Okay. So you need to understand that when I want to lose weight, I lose weight slowly and steadily. I don't overdo it. I will stick to changing my whole lifestyle. I just can't do 5 asanas and lose weight. I change my whole lifestyle. I have to aim not on losing weight, but improving my fitness. So this goes even for lean people. Okay. So all the people who are thin, who look good, does not mean that they are fit. Okay. So fitness should be in mantra in all the body mass. Okay. Whether you are lean body mass or you are an obese person, you should all aim in getting more fitter. If you are able to do 10 Surya Namaskara, you should aim on doing 12 Surya Namaskara or 20 Surya Namaskara. That is should be your aim. Automatically, there will be losing weight. That's not going anywhere. But your aim should be fitness rather than losing weight. Because I know women who have not eaten food for 2 years, 3 years. I know women who have lost muscle completely, okay, just because they wanted to lose weight. You need to understand you are losing weight, but if you gain muscle mass, it is good. It is good. You know, you do weights and dumbbells and you have muscle mass, it is good. You need to understand that being 50 kg is not important. Even if you are 65 kg, but you are fit, then I want you to be 65 kg. Okay. You need to understand you have to have fitness, and muscle also carry the mass. So change, what you need to understand is change your fat mass to muscle mass. Okay. So you need to be slow and steady. Okay. So I think I stopped right on time.
Thank you, Dr. Pooja. I think that was a wonderful session. Just one small question to you.
Yes.
Those who have obesity due to steroid-induced and also due to thyroid, do these asanas work on them also, or they have to take some special care?
Okay, so thyroid, that I told you, that Viparitasana, in which legs are against the wall, that is very, very good. Second very good thing for thyroid is all the neck movements, because it is all about bringing circulation here. So all the neck movements are very, very good for thyroid. Okay, now for steroid induced, so with steroid, it is very, very important that how much steroid the person is taking, how much we can push them. So in any of the conditions in which we are struggling with the condition, I would always suggest that personally meet a physio or meet a yoga person and personally talk to them to have a personal exercise protocol, not a group exercise protocol. Everything will not work in group.
Thank you very much. It was wonderful having you. We'll see you in other sessions also. It was great. Especially obesity is an important topic these days, especially in the cities, in metros where people binge and put on weight.
But we need to also understand that we need to shift our focus from obesity and to fitness, because obesity itself, world has caused lot of damage to people and made money industry. The whole money industry is about obesity. But you shift your focus from obesity to get fit.
Yeah, one last thing before I leave you is there is a good saying which says what is temporarily on your lips is permanently on your hips. So I think that is what people should be careful about. Thank you very much for that. Thank you. It's wonderful having you. Thank you. We now have quiz number 1. Quiz number 1 is, in which of the following ways does yoga help manage obesity? Yoga postures involve bending and twisting, which helps in reducing fat near the abdomen and other areas where fat accumulates. B, yogic kriyas help in regulating the function of endocrine glands, thus preventing metabolic disorders. C, adopting yoga as a lifestyle and not as an instant solution can help with long-term benefits and remission of obesity. And D, all the above. The answers would be given at the end of this program. We now have the session here. Welcome back. We now have Health Counter, a highly popular health capsule and an initiative of Health4All to connect with India's topmost medical, nutritional, wellness, and public health experts, policymakers, and do a straight talk on the latest topics to get an insight into diseases, prevention, and cure, or any health issues or patient issues. Today we have with us Dr. Amitabh Banerjee, who is professor and head community medicine at Dr. D.Y. Patil Medical College, Pune. In his previous roles, he served as medical officer, epidemiologist at Indian Armed Forces and an associate professor, community medicine at Armed Forces Medical College, Pune. He will answer important questions on lifestyle and ignored and important preventions. He's always outspoken, and we love you for that, Dr. Banerjee. I think you always call a spade a spade.
Thank you.
And your recent tweet has proved what you are. Speaking to him is Dr. Swadeep Srivastav, one among India's top health communication experts and founder of Heal Foundation and Heal Health, which have been at the forefront of health awareness through healthcare communications. Heal Foundation and Heal Health have been instrumental in creating campaigns and platforms for healthcare improvements in India for the last 2 decades. Over to you, Dr. Swadeep.
Thank you, Shankar sir. Thank you. Namaskar, Dr. Banerjee sir.
Namaskar, it's a pleasure.
Good morning, and I know you are sitting in a warmer place in Pune. We are
much warmer.
chilly place in Delhi. Yeah. So I'll start this session. Of course, it is your session, so you have your presentation and a lot of talk to do. So I'll start this session with setting the pretext of what Richard Simons said once in an interview with Men's Health magazine, that you can't buy it, you can't rent it, you have to earn it. My formula has been love yourself, move your body, watch your portions. Leading a healthy lifestyle sounds easy enough, right? Could be, but there's a lot of obstacles trying to divert our attention from eating healthy, making healthy choices, and exercising. Fortunately, when you are in the healthcare field, you may see the result of making unhealthy decisions, and it can help you lend a better life that is more fulfilling when you make the right choices. So I think, sir, your talk is also very much aligned with this thought process. And you once also said in one of your headlines, and I think you are fond of making headlines. That's good. There's a lot of good right education coming out. So a century ago, the Spanish flu is estimated to have killed between 17 to 50 million people. Since 2020, SARS-CoV-2 is estimated to have taken lives of 5.5 million people, almost all of them either obese, already sick, or above the age of 70. So that is our overall topic of the episode is also, of course, so your focus has always been either sick, means with comorbidities, and your focus has also been emphasizing on a lot of data you have on the obese people, particularly falling prey to COVID and other diseases also. That's also part of comorbidity. So over to you, sir. First your talk, then I will have few question answers in there.
Thank you, Dr. Swadeep. Thank you, Mr. Sankar. And I will start with, like Mr. Sankar always calls me outspoken. So one cannot be outspoken without data. So,
I completely agree with you.
Therefore, I have to do extra research and extra homework. Of course, my students do it, but I cross-check it. And I just present the data and speak. I leave it to the target audience to make the judgment. So again, today, since I am trying to speak, and the thing has been, the pace has been very well set by Dr. Pooja Pandey. I was seeing the previous session. She has very well brought out about the overall health and overall, and of course, if you take care of your overall health, your obesity will also take care, and other immunity also improves, and general well-being improves. So I have been tabulating the data since the onset of the pandemic of different continents and different countries, actually. So at the beginning of the pandemic, say sometime in May, June, I tabulated data from 3 continents. And I found that there was a very close association with the obesity levels as measured by the increased BMI, more than 25, and the mortality from COVID. There was almost 10 times difference between the Western countries and the Asian and African countries. I mean, almost 10 times difference between the Western countries and the Asian countries, and almost 15 to 20 times difference with the African countries. So I tabulated the data and compared it with the BMI, that is the measure of obesity, and also the age, because this was the year it is a disease of the elderly, comorbid, those who are in nursing homes. So there was a good correlation with age. What was surprising was there was a much more stronger correlation with obesity. Actually, at the population level, this obesity data is available from the WHO site. So obesity data can be compared across countries, and the COVID data can be compared. So this obesity data, what was interesting was that obesity was very strongly associated with and that obesity is a surrogate marker. That obesity per se increases the fatality from all respiratory diseases, not only COVID. If for influenza also, there are papers, and subsequently there are papers that obesity increases the risk of severe disease and mortality from COVID also, because obesity causes the compromised respiratory functions. As Madam was explaining, the breathing problems with too much of fat cells around the respiratory muscles. And also obesity is a surrogate marker of other comorbidities like diabetes, hypertension. So this is one reason. And then 2 countries give very good 2 outliers or 3 outliers in each continent, gives very good association or proves the point. You see, Japan is the oldest country. Even the median age of Japan is even higher than the Western countries, but they have got very low mortality from the COVID. And on the other hand, Brazil has a younger country, but they have got a higher obesity, and their death rate from COVID are equal to the Western countries. Similarly, in Africa, all the African countries are very lean except for South Africa. And South Africa has got very high. I have just made one slide. I'll be comparing the data. And this slide I had made, these comparative tables I had made almost 1.5 years ago. Then over the 1.5 years, there have been so many interventions. Some country had gone for lockdown, some country got for COVID appropriate behavior. Then there was a vaccination rollout also. The Western countries are almost having 80%, 90% vaccination rollout, like Israel, UK and all. And the African countries are hardly having any vaccination coverage. Some of the countries are having less than 5% coverage. Asian countries are also in between. So I thought that these interventions would remove these disparities. But I have again tabulated the data after 1.5 years, and we find that the gap between the West, Asian and African countries still remains 10%, 15%. So that means that all those measures, basically it is the overall health which is measured by the obesity. And then that shows that this is if you want a permanent protection from, say, earlier I used to teach my students that for this lifestyle, diet, exercise is to be used as a prevention for non-communicable disease. So now I have started teaching that it can also prevent against acute communicable disease like viral infections like COVID. In future, we may be having other infections also. So this is that one. We cannot address the problem piecemeal. So if you have an overall good health, the human body can cope up with the challenges in future, and these can be only supportive measures, the vaccination and other measures. You see, of course, the only measure which can sustain is the hand washing, which can prevent against other or waterborne disease also like typhoid or hepatitis and even respiratory infections. But you see, we can't continue masking and all for long term because it can cause other problems. So these are only, we think that they are working, but across all countries, population, very high population density like Bangladesh, Pakistan, they are having very low transmission. I mean, they have got very low COVID deaths now, probably because they cannot, the social distancing cannot work. So I will just rapidly share the screen. I think I have got the option of sharing the screen, Ankit. Can I share the screen? I'll just
yeah. I think this share screen is given to you.
So can you see the slide?
Yes.
So this is that it is you see, we require active involvement of the people to prevent. So actually, people are becoming more passive. You see, to change, it may be just slight changes in lifestyle can cause a great benefit. अभी क्या हो रहा है कि people have become passive. Even पहले क्या टीवी का स्विच के लिए भी अभी बैठे बैठे रिमोट से हो जाता है. Then every program is passive and they will watch the yoga program and not do it themselves. And they think that medication, that obesity reducing drugs or vaccines or medications, this should be used as a supportive treatment. But because people are going primarily for these passive interventions, like you take a drug for obesity or you take a vaccine for prevention disease, these are passive. So that they are ignoring the more important lifestyle changes. And the lifestyle trend is going with the social changes or working space or home space or diet or recreation. Everything is changing. So I'll just go rapidly. So this is epidemiological approach is like we first do the descriptive, how much, as I said, what is the death per million people in different population. That is the measurement of the COVID impact. Then who are getting affected, the elderly or the obese, where, when, and why. And then we make some hypothesis that this may be the reason. Then what can be done? If we find that obesity is related, as one may in the long term, we can say that yes, we should try to go for population weight control and how to prevent in future. And what difficulties are there? Like we require cycling, we don't have cycle tracks. We don't have even walking tracks nowadays. We are having so much congestion of vehicles. So these are then we want to have good food. We don't have time nowadays. We go for fast food and all that. So these can be the difficulties in lifestyle change. There has no enabling environment. So we can think of, say, in office also, we can have some breaks of some recreation or something like that. Some of the companies are doing. They have yoga in the morning and then they start their work. So half an hour per day is good enough. Half an hour or 40 minutes of brisk physical activity, a brisk walk or some exercises is good enough for a lifestyle change. As Dr. Pooja said, it is not only the obesity which may or may not reduce, but if you do even 10 minutes exercise daily or 30 minutes exercise, there are many changes, chemical changes, which are very protective for the overall health. And obesity would be a secondary benefit reduction. So obesity per se may not be the year, but associated with obesity, there may be many other sluggish, your metabolism may be sluggish. So early morning, many offices I have seen, I had gone to get my car service. So I saw all the workers were doing some exercise. So that's a good thing. So this type of something can be put in the daily life so that, time out is sometimes a challenge. So these are, of course, in the past 2 years, this is well established that these are the comorbidities. And recently also the CDC director said that 75% of the people who died with COVID had comorbidities, 3 to 4 comorbidities. And in fact, earlier publication from CDC had said, in fact, 94% of people who died of COVID had comorbidities. So one can imagine that if we control the overall health, we could have controlled so many fatalities. So this is the thing which I would like you to pay attention. So the top is the color is the Western countries. If you see the column, the first column is the country, second column is the deaths per million in May 2020. So they were in 3 digits in the Western countries like USA, UK, Sweden, and Brazil. Brazil, of course, had in 2 digits, but as the pandemic progressed, the Brazil overtook the Western countries. And India had 1 digit, and the African countries were having in decimal places per million. And the South Africa, if you see the obesity, the median age is, South Africa is the 27. You see median age, as I said, the age was a predictor of mortality. So the Western countries are already having the median age above 40. Most of the deaths in Western countries were 80 years and above. So median age, the less younger population, whereas the Asian countries, the median age, Asian and African countries are around 20 plus minus 20 years. So, but South Africa also median age is 27. But if you see the overweight percentage in South Africa is 53, and compared to 20s in the African countries and Asian countries, whereas it is 60. That is the 5th column. Overweight is almost 60, almost 2/3 of the population are overweight in Western countries. And South Africa also has a higher obesity. So among that, in the May was when the pandemic was just 3-4 months old, and subsequently I have compared 4th February, that's 3 days ago. If you see the gap persist, this is the cumulative mortality to date, 4 digits in the Western countries, USA, UK, Sweden. I have taken only some of the countries, but if you tabulate all the countries, the same pattern persists. And India, 3 digits, Asian countries 3 digits, and African countries 2 digits, except for South Africa. And South Africa is 4 digits. And if you see, and obesity is coming out as a main factor, common denominator. And if you see, interestingly, if you see Japan has got the highest age, 48 median age, higher than the Western countries, but its obesity is just 24. And it has got a mortality in 3 digits now. Earlier it was in 1 digit 3. And on the other hand, Brazil has a younger age, 33, and it has got an overweight. It is coming to this Western country standards. And similarly, South Africa. And if you see, the last column is the vaccination coverage. If you see, the vaccination coverage are very high in the Western countries, and it is hardly in the African countries. So the intervention that at such cost we are spending on vaccination, if this partly of this cost we can use for the lifestyle changes, which requires, of course, individual participation. Problem is, wherever there is individual participation, there is no commercial interest. Because it's if you run every day 30 minutes or you walk briskly 30 minutes, there is no commerce involved. And if you don't eat fast food, you eat your dal roti, so again the commerce suffers. So there is no promotion of lifestyle. So we have to think of some way how to make it glamorous. It's not very glamorous only. So this is what I have given just some countries, but I have been tabulating data for many countries, and this almost 160 countries once I tabulated, and this difference persisted throughout the pandemic and even after 1.5 years. I'm just writing a paper on it. I was on the job. And this is the take-home messages. Throughout the pandemic, the Western countries are 5 to times higher from COVID. जैसे मैराथन में एक लीड हो जाता है, मैराथन के एंड में भी वही लीड चल रहा है. और इस बीच में इस दौरान कितना कुछ हुआ है. We have had a lockdown. Some countries did not have lockdown. Sweden did not have lockdown. And if you see the data today, Sweden is, though it is in 4 digits because of its overweight and other things, but it is less than the UK and America and other countries which are strict lockdown. Similarly, Japan did not have a lockdown, and Japan rates are something like Asian countries. So all these measures, the more important measures have been the basic health of the people as measured by the surrogate marker of obesity. Age and more importantly, obesity. Then Japan, Brazil, I have already mentioned. In all this I have just discussed. And all these are related to lifestyle factors like physical activity, diet, tobacco, alcohol, stress, and there have been studies, there have been scientific papers which show that obesity, just control of obesity, excess obesity explains 70 to 60 to 50 to 70% of the deaths could have been prevented. So if you see that if your population becomes less obese, or you become less obese at individual level, your protection compared to a person who has not controlled his lifestyle is 50 to 70%. That means the vaccine efficacy is also 70%. Now they say vaccine efficacy is going down after 3 months. 50% हो रहा है vaccine efficacy, 30% हो रहा है. Trial में 90% था, फिर अभी 50% हो गया. स्ट्रेन चेंज हो गया, म्यूटेट हो गया, 20% हो गया वैक्सीन एफिकेसी. इट इज समथिंग लाइक आप कार खरीदते हो तो बहुत केपीएल देता है, जब रास्ते में आता है केपीएल कम देता है, और जितना पुराना होता है उतना आपका वो पेट्रोल कंज्यूम होता है. So similarly this, and then for that you require booster. So if you have a good health, that 70% protection or 50% protection from your lifestyle change, this will persist. This will not develop. Vaccine efficacy जैसा इसका efficacy कम नहीं होगा. So, and it will not only prevent against COVID, it will prevent other respiratory illnesses or other communicable disease also at all age groups. Because children are also becoming very obese nowadays. Middle class children and the Western children are already very obese. In Western countries, the childhood obesity is higher than the adult obesity. And if you see in India also, the next generation children are more obese than our generation. Because we always pamper our children. Usko chocolate खिलाएंगे, उसको cake खिलाएंगे, उसको ice cream खिलाएंगे, because we love our children. So उससे क्या होता है कि this lifestyle changes are there. what the research shows. So as I said, as I go by data, a study, and even our institution has also studied that other problem, which is we do not have the lifestyle is not only diet and exercise. Lifestyle is also outdoor. Vitamin D is a very important part of immunity. In fact, they have done studies, they have correlated the vitamin deficiency related to COVID impact also. And also vaccine impact. They have done studies that if a person who has got vitamin D deficiency, the vaccine does not work much, because the vaccine also works by stimulating the immunity, the natural infection by stimulating. And if you have got vitamin D deficiency, neither your natural immunity works, neither your vaccine works. So, and we have done, of course, this study, vitamin D study, we have done 5-6 years ago, and we have found the younger generation was 10 times more deficient in vitamin D compared to the older generation. Because the generational wise, the paper we have published, intergenerational decline in vitamin D, because nowadays everybody, even a school to this college student has got a car or a scooter, or they don't expose themselves to the sun rays. They just put sunscreen and other things. So there is vitamin D deficiency. And vitamin D, even I though I go outdoor and all that, I also had vitamin D deficiency. Recently, I am on vitamin D supplementation. And we are from people who are having a good diet. We think we are having a good diet, but somehow vitamin D is not until unless you spend a lot of time outdoors, which we are not spending nowadays. And then comorbidities like diabetes, we did a survey, we have published these papers. Another thing is that young diabetics are there in India. Asian countries, all Asian countries have got a susceptibility to diabetes and heart disease a decade or 2 decades earlier than Western because of a genetic central obesity and other thing. And most of this young diabetes, 35 to 50 years, 50% of them are unaware of their diabetic status. So you see, most of the time you see कि जिसको कोई कोमोर्बिडिटी कोविड से ही सकम and the young age में आ रहा है. So most of the time, some studies elsewhere they have done, they have found undetected comorbidities which are not there. Similarly, it is for hypertension. Then risk factors, we did a study in even the rural areas, the risk factors of say fast food and sedentary lifestyle is gradually, we have done study, we found the risk factor for this diabetes, risk factor for obesity and hypertension are increasing in the rural areas also. These actually we are adopting the Western culture. In fact, long ago we used to study a lot in your preventive medicine courses about primordial prevention. So we never understood the concept what is primordial. So now we are understanding primordial prevention is higher than primary prevention also. That is, those prevent the cultural changes which are harmful to health before they come to a population. That is primordial prevention. So what are the cultural changes? Cultural changes are sedentary lifestyle, automobiles, fast food, and smoking, drinking. And so if a rural population was protected from these cultural changes, it is encroaching on that. So we have been failing in primordial prevention also because of the media, the advertisements and other things. So this cola drinks and this soft drinks which are full of calories. Studies reported with population level vaccination coverage. So this is in this whatever graph I said, and they have done other studies. The 68 countries and 2947 American counties. They compared the vaccination coverage and the trends of COVID trends. So they did not find a big impact at the population level vaccination coverage with the COVID incidence. And now we are seeing Israel also, they are having the 4th dose and still having very high compared to all the previous waves. So until unless your basic lifestyle changes are there, you have got a basic good health, neither your natural immunity works, neither your vaccine works. And if you have both, if you have lifestyle and everything works. So these are some of the changes, like when we were in school and college, we used to go on cycle to college 12 kilometers. So we used to get physical activity, we used to get open air. We were in the open air, no respiratory infections in the open air. And we used to get vitamin D. So 3 advantages we used to get. एक ही इसमें हम साइकिलिंग करते थे और कॉलेज जाते थे. आजकल साइकिल में कोई नहीं जाएगा, वो जिम में जाके अंदर साइकिलिंग करेगा. So whereas because we don't have cycle tracks also, that also, so we have to think on those. Nowadays we are student also, most of them go for a car or a two-wheeler, and it is a closed space, so there is respiratory lack of vitamin D also. So and the person becomes sedentary. So just one change. These are the social change. Similarly, the offices used to be open with verandas and other things. So there was a sunlight, there was a vitamin D, there was no, airborne transmission, so-called airborne transmission. Everything used to get dispersed. Nowadays offices are in cubicles. So you see, it is the ventilation, not the masking and other things which are preventing the respiratory infection, which may have very minimal effect. But the ventilation से वो dilute हो जाता है, आपका जो भी contamination होता है, it get dispersed. But now we have got cubicles. Cubicles में you are entrapping the air. You may be wearing a mask, you may be facing, but again you are interfering with ventilation. Even if you wear a face shield, you may get an entrapped air, which may keep on contaminating. Then some people put in front of the officer, they put that plastic sheets. Again, you are interfering with ventilation. You may get a physical sense that you are protected with armor, but actually you are interfering with the airflow. So this, if you see nowadays, all offices are, and then they are closed. Sometimes the air conditioner works, sometimes the filter works, sometimes it doesn't work. So we don't know. So this is the healthy meal. This is a Japanese diet. Of course, I don't know what is Japanese diet, but I have taken this from the net. This is Japanese diet because I found they were the healthiest people. So I said, चलो ये क्या खाते हैं, देखते हैं कौन सा चक्की का आटा खाते हैं ये, like गब्बर सिंह. So अभी क्या है कि पर खाना देख के तो अच्छा लग रहा है क्योंकि हमारा भी डाइट ऐसे ही मिलता जुलता है. ये देखिए राइस है, फ्रूट्स है, वेजिटेबल्स है. So we also eat. Actually, basic Asian diets and other things were already very healthy actually. So I don't see much difference when I have a look at this from Indian diets. Whether it and India has got such good variety of diets, South Indian diets, Marathi diet, Gujarati, all are of natural cereals, all are full of natural vegetables. And these are what we are changing over to the fast food. Burger and so this is the youth is changing over. The next generation already. And with that, instead of water, they will take that Coke or Thumbs Up or Fanta. That is full of sugar. That is they say sugar is the new smoking. You see, sugar is the one which causes all the problems. Instead of that high cholesterol and fat, now that hypothesis is also changing. So this is what is happening. And this is over the period of lockdown, they have done studies in USA. People have gained 5 kgs, 10 kgs, 20 kgs weight. So this lockdown and restriction of movement is making you more vulnerable to infections. So this is what's happening. And these are some of the studies I have done. These are the study done by a student on vitamin D. We found, we have done it in 2017, almost 4 years ago. Then this is a study on diabetes, which we did in our community. We found 50% young people, middle-aged people not aware of the diabetic status, the risk factors. And these are some studies which found that 68 countries and 2947 counties, there is no unrelated to levels of mass vaccination. So we have to think actually, policymakers have to think whether we are getting the return of mass vaccination. We have to go for selective vaccination if we are not getting. It's a matter of economics. I am not worried about whatever. Don't enter into controversy about side effects and other things. But it is simple economics. I think I have ended here. Thank you.
Yeah, sir. Thank you, sir. So I think, sir, one of the we can end these slides, sir. Yeah. Okay. No, yeah. So first to the related questions, sir. So you showed this whole in the last slide. You show this diet, that Japanese diet, sir.
Yeah.
So, and you showed the whole palette. If you see, it's spread of so many things, including just one portion of rice, and then there are other so many vegetables and everything spread out. Whereas if you look at the Indian palette, and particularly, so don't you, because this has been one of the key points of discussions in the recent times. Some studies also come. I think government also has been highlighting the overuse of carb-rich food, carb-rich food in our diet. So you definitely, the sugar is now is the main culprit. Everybody knows, sir. But even carbohydrate in what we eat in our Indian diet is like, if you see the plate and the picture of Indian diet, forget about the American burger and all those diet chips and all. But even in Indian diet, sir, don't you think that the portion of rice, roti is much higher than vegetable and dal if you look at the overall plate? Whereas in Japanese or even in foreign countries, whenever we go in Europe or US, or we travel and we eat at the restaurants, so we see that there's always a lot of emphasis in terms of the filling the plate with more vegetables and maybe beef or the chickens and everything, and less of bread or everything everywhere. You start with some salad or some more rich veg. So is there any data available on this, that Indians eat more carbohydrate compared to other countries? That's why that can be one of the reasons of imbalance in overall nutrition, sir.
You're perfectly right, Dr. Sadeep. Indian diets are high in cereals, and it's like rice and wheat, which are almost 60-70%. They get the calories from carbohydrate. So there is, of course, these carbohydrates are not very desirable, as you said, if you are having excess of carbohydrates, but they are less harmful than very rapid carbohydrates like sugar, maida. So if you take, multi-grain, they take now, we combine it with bajra or wheat. They are also carbohydrates, but they do not have that sudden rise in blood sugar. Glycemic index is less, firstly. Secondly, as you said, the too much of rice, it is a matter of economics also. Poor people cannot afford too much of vegetables. Fruits are getting very costlier. So they cannot afford. So for them, the staple diet will be a bowl of rice or a big thali of rice. I have seen poor people eat it with some salt and water also, nothing else, because that they have to fill the year. But fortunately, what happens, the poor people, they are working more also. They are doing more physical activity. 6-7 घंटे वो काम करता है, तो उसका क्या होता है कि उसका कैलोरी इंटेक मैच हो जाता है. And awareness among the rich people, they can afford to have a variety of diets and cut down on carbohydrates. They can have fruits. They can have actually 5 helpings of fruits are recommended. Minimum 5 helpings, 35 gram in each helping. Almost this 5 helpings of fruits and a lot of vegetables. So that gives a diversity. They say as much diversity in the diet and cutting down on the carbohydrate. Firstly, refined carbohydrate, and secondly, as you said, the other too much of rice, which can form the bulk of the year, can be unbalanced a little. But poor people cannot afford it. So we can have some consolation that they work it out. They do the physical activity, so the balance remains, and they can, if they're working in the fields, they may take some gajar or mooli or something. They take vegetables also. They may be munching, but that awareness can be increased. And the poor people can be told to grow their own vegetables, like the kitchen garden, other things. So that way, it may be a matter of economics.
Yeah. So, sir, is it also to do with, or is there any data on the type of cultivation and farming we do in India? Like one of the things which came out was recently was in terms of farming and cultivation, we have become rich in rice and wheat farming, rather surplus of rice and wheat farming, whereas and quite dependent, and whereas other farmings are not that much, particularly if you see in North India, the green pastures, the rich fields, better farming fields. So is there any such thing that is to do with the overall farming and what we cultivate, and what that's why the staple food becomes more, which you produce more, it becomes staple foods?
Yes, definitely. There is very strong association with the health and the agriculture sector. And that's why we should have more interdisciplinary, intersectoral coordination. Most of the good health depends beyond the health sector, beyond doctors or beyond health. We have to interact with agriculture and agriculture produce. And again, those may be also driven by market forces. Now, you see now, sugarcane industry has gone up very high in Maharashtra. And sugarcane and the grapes industry. So there is a bit of a skewed thing. I mean, there is no balanced agriculture, and the sugarcane, sugar products will grow up, because then again, in this also commerce enters. Commerce, not only it's a pharma industry, in the food industry also the commercial interests have played havoc actually, including the promotion of carbohydrates and sugars also, because the industry of, say, smoking, the tobacco industry wanted to divert its attention that tobacco does not cause ill health, it is the fat. They put the blame on fat. So everybody started attacking, the scientific papers started coming, the fat and cholesterol are harmful. Now the more studies, they said that the fat and cholesterol are not so harmful as the sugar, because people stopped taking the fat, saturated fat, and they started taking the sugar, because and the sugar industry controlled even the scientific research and blaming everything on the fat. So it's a big, many things come into play. It's a very complex, it's a commercial interest come, politics come, and it's a very difficult to navigate. The common man, even the doctor, scientist, difficult for this to navigate this so many conflicting.
Got it, sir. So just we'll take a 1.5 minute break. We have a health resolution video by experts. So we'll play one of the videos and then continue the conversation with you, sir. That is, I think, hardly for 1.5 minutes. Yeah? So that will give some new message to our viewers. So Ankit, can we play that video quickly?
फूड हैबिट्स चेंज करना बहुत ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट हो गया इस दौरान. So what we are encouraging them to now do is to kind of choose a diet which is low glycemic. जब हम low glycemic food बोलते हैं, it means it is high in vegetables. It is moderately. You can have 2 healthy fruits a day. Include lot of plant-based foods like your pulses hai, dals hai, whole grains. So instead of choosing very refined food, if we choose whole grains, millets. जब हम मिलेट्स के बारे में बात करते हैं, these are all our traditional cereals like your jawar, bajra, ragi, amran. So including all of these, all have a lot of polyphenols, flavonoids, which antioxidants, which are good for us. So they actually help in also elevating the health status than what the people are. One of the दूसरी और एक चीज है वो है protein, and us as Indians we always have little protein. So एक मैं जो सारे viewers को एक बहुत strong point देना चाहूंगी कि improvise your protein content. हर meal में breakfast, mid morning, lunch, dinner include protein and spread the protein through the day. तो जिसका मतलब इसका simple translation ये होगा कि अगर आप यदि breakfast खा रहे हो so you include sprouts or you include a moong dal chila or a besan chila. If you are at mid morning, you can include some bhune hue chane or some nuts. At lunch, eat your dahi, eat a big bowl of dal. If you're a non-vegetarian, you could eat some lean proteins like meat or fish. In the evening, again, eat a bowl full of chana or sprouts or makhana. And then dinner include proteins. So overall, when one also includes protein we must understand is a high immunity food, and it is the base of the entire immune things. So all of these also need to be included. Zinc, vitamin C definitely need to be included, and immunity needs to be up. So include your whole grains, include fresh fruits. Amla is back in the season, one of the highest sources of vitamin C, and they should be had.
Thank you. So I think so it was quite related to your what we have been talking. So my one of the another question would be, sir, quite intriguing. So I go back to your slide of that geographical epidemiology COVID-19, sir. So here when you show the data of India, and I'll come back to India because we are here, so it makes more sense. Is the overweight in terms of the overall deaths per million population? You said overweight is, I think in the whole chart it shows the lowest 19.7%. So can you clarify a bit more on this, that what does this actually imply? That overweight is the lowest. It means that all the people who have died of COVID, the reason for obesity is the lowest compared to all other countries. That's what you mean, sir?
I want to say that the population level obesity, actually these are data at the population level. So this gives the clues. Now we require the more study at individual levels, more granular studies to really establish it further. So these are the general clues given by population level data. Higher the obesity, higher the impact. And in fact, I have got people have contacted me from Brazil also when I had presented the data on one international forums, and one lady contacted me and she said, yes, most of the deaths, 80% of the deaths I am seeing in my hospitals are obese people. Similarly, people have contacted from USA. They said most of the children who died are obese or endocrine disorders or other disorders. So childhood diabetes and other things. So these are some clues at the population which gives the signals. And if we get the signals, we should follow that path and investigate further. Actually, now presently what is happening is vaccine is one of the measures of controlling or preventing disease, but it cannot be the sole measure. What is happening is everything is concentrated on vaccine research. So in addition to vaccine research, we should do this type of research also, because human body is not like a machine, like a factory that सबको एक ही type का gear लगा दो या सबको एक ही type का fuel लगा दो. Even for nutrition also, different people react differently to diets. So you have to do trial and error. So in this, obesity is coming out as an individual factor. Obese person or someone with vitamin D deficiency, the natural immunity also doesn't work, the vaccine also doesn't work. There are some studies. So similarly, obesity, there have been, I read occasional paper, one odd paper I read, that the virus has got an affinity for fat cells also. So the viral load is also more in obese people. So this type of, first is the major clue, then there are the finer research. So that goes more and more from the big thing. You see from things from the sky, then you go near, you see things clearer. So that is how the logical research should be guided.
So just no doubt this intervention and the data is commendable. Like it gives a new perspective and a more important perspective that these factors should not be neglected. But again, sir, clarifying further on it. So if the obesity, the people who died due to COVID in India, the obesity percentage is lesser, means there are other comorbidities.
No, it is, you are getting me wrong. It is not the people who died.
It's overall obesity.
Overall. So people who died in India also are obese.
Okay.
It is pointing out to the vulnerability of the population. Obese population, more people will die, and out of this more people, it will be obese who will end up in hospital.
So this means that the overall obesity in India is the lowest compared to these countries.
And Japan and India and Asian African countries are lowest.
Okay.
And the South Africa, you saw the higher obesity and they are having higher rates.
Okay, so that's a very clear-cut marker that the rate of death is related to.
If you see another thing, like first wave was mostly the tenements and slum people got affected in India, and in the second wave, it was the middle class housing societies which got affected, and middle class on the whole in India are more obese than the people who are living in the slums and tenements. And that's why if you see the oxygen requirement and the mortality was slightly higher in the second wave, because in India also, India has got very obese people also, India has poor people also. India is a very big country. So India has one America inside it, India has Africa inside it, India has Asia inside it. So it is many countries within one country. So you will find a lot of Americans in India, because you may find a whole UK 6 lakh crore obese people. So when, it's not a homogeneous country. So when it attacks, the mortality, you have to see who is getting attacked. That's why I say who are getting epidemiology, whether it is the obese people. In India also, most of the deaths may be due to people with comorbidities, and particularly marker must have been the obesity.
Right, got it, sir. So last question, because of the paucity of time, we'll have this last question, but it was no doubt a very fruitful discussion. So it's on vitamin deficiency has often been related to low exposure to sunlight. That's what you also showed in your presentation. But in recent times, a lot of women are deficient because of ample, even if they have ample sunlight. Even some studies we saw in traffic police, standing all day in sun, but the deficiency was more than 50% of the traffic police, 60%, 70% for vitamin D. So what can be the main reason behind it, sir?
Women, because they cover with sunscreen. Sunscreen cuts off the vitamin D. And traffic policemen are having full sleeves and they wear mask also. So the exposure, the skin exposure is minimum. So to get proper vitamin D, you have to go to the beach, you have to go to the park, and which they all closed during the lockdown. I mean, whatever measures they had taken, it went against the science once. Vitamin D, because the children used to play in the football with, minimum dress. So vitamin D, and that too they say you have to spend minimum 1 or 2 hours in the sun, which nobody spends nowadays. And the police is well covered actually. They are covered, they wear mask. Even other times also they wear mask with the traffic pollution, and the very little part of the body is exposed.
Right. Brilliant, sir. I think.
And dark skin people do not absorb the sun ray. Dark skin also, they are vulnerable to vitamin D. And those who have got fair skin, they get sunburn. So basically, I think one has to take supplement. Ultimately, it comes down to it.
But this is a very important point that what you made, and what our viewers should also understand is that vitamin D exposure is about your skin exposure. It's not about you go and full dressed in front of sun and you get the exposure, which a lot of people try to do. So that's a very important point. So I think, sir, it is this interaction was really very interesting and very insightful. Particularly why we love inviting you is because of the data and the analytics.
But Mr. Sankar looks for controversy.
No, I didn't say controversial. I said you're outspoken with strong facts.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. It was wonderful having you. There are so many topics we will keep discussing in future, sir. And but obviously, you also tell us about the new study which you have initiated. You said you have just started some paper. Writing some paper. Yeah. So we'll be. So what's on that? So this is on what?
The same thing I have compared more countries, because in the PowerPoint I could not present this clutter. It would more countries I have the same data. They are and vaccination level. So this I am just as a short communication I am just publishing, so that after my publication many people approach me and they also confirm it. So that is the way science has to develop.
So we will definitely love to have that publication and also circulate amongst our viewers across and through all the media, health media, which keeps watching and following us from across the country. And thank you so much again, sir. It was really wonderful to have you in this episode of Your Health Counter. And we'll keep interacting with you in future too. Thank you.
I came in a tracksuit also to promote.
Yes, it's about fitness and lifestyle.
After a long time, I started jogging. I had some detachment retina, so doctor told me not to jog. But now I have recovered full health, so I have started jogging. So that's why I said I will set an example. And before me, I saw someone doing yoga, so that she went one step ahead of me.
So with this message, that everyone please get up, start doing do jogging or walking or yoga, whatever.
Start with brisk walking.
Brisk walking, yeah. So that is the important message for the day. We thank you, Dr. Banerjee, again, and I will request my colleague Ankit to play the next session intro video so that we can start with them. Sorry, we'll have that Your Health Counter next episode. Over to you, Shankar sir.
Thank you, Sudeep. It is always wonderful having Dr. Ravita Banerjee and hearing him. But one thing, frankly, I should say rather outspoken about Dr. Banerjee is that the Banerjee that you saw yesterday is not the Dr. Banerjee that you see today. He has wonderful new ideas that come up and they're strongly based on facts. It was wonderful hearing you, Dr. Banerjee. I think it's always a pleasure to hear you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We now have Your Health Counter, where Dr. Sanjay K. Rai, Professor at Center for Community Medicine, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi, will be speaking on scientific facts on Omicron. This is a recorded version. We now have your health counter with Dr. Sanjay K. Rai on COVID-19 endemic. What's the end game? Dr. Sanjay Rai is currently professor at Center for Community Medicine, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi. He's also the editor of the prestigious World Health Organization Southeast Asia Journal of Public Health. Speaking to him will be Dr. Swadeep Srivastava, one of top health communicators and the founder of Heal Foundation and Heal Health, which have been at the forefront of healthcare awareness through healthcare communication and has been instrumental in creating campaigns and platforms for healthcare improvements in India for the last 2 decades.
The first point is natural immunity provides better and longer duration of protection. When you say, since the beginning of pandemic, WHO's role has been doubtful, its obsession with vaccine is questionable. Very bold statement, sir. So we'd like to have your view. Would request you to elaborate and provide more scientific insights on this in your talks. Your distinguished colleague, Dr. Professor Amitabh Banerjee, who has also been a regular on our show, sir, said you endorse it equivocally that rushed mass vaccination with poor public health infrastructure is like running a super fast train on the old rickety tracks. What do you think would have been a better and scientific way of vaccination drive? We have covered a few points earlier also, but for our viewers, a lot of new viewers keep adding. People always want to know that clarity is still not there. The scientific of vaccination drive in a vast country like India with complexity of challenges. And then the third point is leading public health experts, including our guru, Dr. Professor Chandrakant S. Pandav, have been pointing out at overwhelming focus on COVID resulting in neglect of other important health issues and affecting other vaccination rights, etc. Dr. Professor Banerjee also recently wrote an article on Our Children Health Issues. Daily 2,000 children in this country are dying with preventable causes and not because of COVID. So how do you think we can overcome this and come on the right track with respect to implementing universal health coverage to all our people coming out of the hangover of COVID, I would call, and you also always call the hangover of COVID. You also highlighted a Harvard professor of medicine, Martin Kulldorff, views on children vaccination against COVID-19 is unscientific. So can you explain it further? It creates a double whammy in the minds of parents too, when we see that the developed countries have already vaccinated their child population, and here in India, everybody, including my wife, my daughter's mother, is really awaiting all our children to get fully vaccinated. Also on views on related topic on how effective would be booster dose, is 9 months gap justified? Mixology, some studies are showing mix of vaccines working better than same dose of booster. So these are just the points we can touch on, sir. And your view on your recent statement, and that is one of the latest one, is still in debate going on, is looking at the COVID-19 vaccination status and the natural infection. We can say that very soon the majority of us will be getting an infection, and thus this virus will convert into endemic, says Dr. Sanjay K. Rai, he told ANI in a statement. Then WHO came out with this statement, the COVID-19 pandemic is far from over. The World Health Organization chief said, cautioning against a narrative that the fast-spreading Omicron variant is risk-free, this pandemic is nowhere near over, said Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus told reporters from the WHO's headquarters in Geneva. Is it contradictory, or you both are pressing on the same point in different ways?
So, as you said that COVID endgame, we'll discuss COVID endgame. So we'll discuss. These are the very frequently asked questions. Kahin bhi jao, everybody is asking, is there end of this pandemic? What is the role of acquired immunity, vaccination, natural immunity? You also asked this question. Adult vaccination, children vaccination, long-term effect of these vaccines. Which vaccine is the best vaccine? You must be aware, there are 33 vaccines approved by various regulatory authorities, and 334 vaccines are in the different phases of the development for one disease. So unprecedented, completely unprecedented vaccine-related research. What is the role of the booster? what is the role of the natural infection? You asked this question, when COVID become the endemic. So all this, what is the real situation as of now? Currently, more than 37 crore cases, this world has already reported, and this is the actual reported figure, with more than 56 lakh deaths. So these are the reported number as of today morning. And then if you see the total number of cases reporting, this world is reporting per day, over 30 lakh cases they are reporting. So these are the reported number of cases. Actual number could be several times higher than this. And more than 9,000 deaths per day this world is reporting currently. Last year, when there were 1 lakh cases per day, that was a huge cry that the entire world is reporting 1 lakh cases. Currently, 30 lakh cases per day. And then, so entire world is helping, India is also helping. This is a very old slide, just I changed the figures, right? Since last almost 1.5 years, I'm using these slides, and this is my conscious decision to use these slides because of this. Is there end of this pandemic? The answer is always yes. We had several pandemic, but how? I used to say that through herd immunity, and that herd immunity will achieve through either natural infection and vaccination. This I said almost a year ago, in the month of January, February. So I am using same slide. Now I can say, based on the current evidences, see, science is evolving. So based on the current evidences, we can say, no, this is not the right, and I will change my statement. I said 1 year ago that both vaccination and natural infection will provide the herd immunity. Why? We know vaccines are very effective in preventing many diseases. So vaccine is the really smart way to control diseases. Per year, we are saving more than 3 million, 30 lakhs deaths as per the estimate all over the world. And since last many years, we are using vaccines for the different diseases, especially childhood disease. So we have prevented many deaths, in billions deaths we have prevented till now through the good vaccination program for all the vaccine preventable diseases, especially childhood vaccine. What is the vaccination status? Almost more than 60% of the world population has received at least 1 dose. This is the situation, except African countries. So African countries, overall vaccination status is very low. Overall case status is also low, reporting number, and death is lowest. If you compare with other continent, either it's your Asia or North America, South America, Australia. So overall, deaths are case fatality rate, and case fatality rate is slightly high because of not detecting a lot of asymptomatic cases, etc. So testing is low, but overall death report rates are also low. Vaccine already approved by India, and also WHO has already approved these. So these are the vaccine approved by the WHO. These are the 10 vaccines WHO already approved as of now, as on 30th January 2022. So vaccine effectiveness, good vaccine effectiveness, reducing severity. So there are a lot of publications. So vaccine is effective against reducing severity and death 80 to 90% in a susceptible population. This is the message. But now we know there is no need to show all these publications. All over the world, breakthrough infections are. We have clear the definition of breakthrough infection. Breakthrough infection means 2 weeks after the second dose. So almost everywhere, if you see the UK data, daily they are reporting around 1 lakh cases. Till last week, 1 lakh cases, and out of 1 lakh, almost 50 to 60,000 cases are of breakthrough infection. That means fully vaccinated. Even in the UK has inoculated 3rd dose also, so booster, more than 51% in the population, they have received booster also, but breakthrough infection. So message here is that all these vaccines are not preventing infection, they are preventing severity and death in a susceptible population. So breakthrough infection, there are a lot of publications. I'm not going to now actual data is available, so there is no need to show all these publications. Although Public Health England has released some data on this also. NEGM study I have already discussed. Even see, UK released the data. Now reinfections rate are very common after Omicron, and because of reason that all these mutations are in the spike protein and mainly in the receptor domain. So after Omicron, reinfections are, so Omicron is bypassing your existing immunity, either acquired through your this vaccine or natural immunity. But the benefit is it's a severity index are almost nil. So just like your this vaccine is reducing severity and death, but here almost it's negligible after natural infection if you are getting second time infection. Just last week, CDC released, first time CDC realized that natural infection is providing better and longer duration of protection. It took almost 2 years to understand this fact to CDC, and they just released this last week. They have, on January 19th, they released this in their report. So we can say it's a completely rational, if it's not universal vaccination. Now it's the time to use strategic vaccination only. So universal vaccination is completely irrational because it's saving life, and yet those who are use this precious resource in a susceptible population. Those who recover from COVID, they are not the susceptible. It's a completely irrational. It's unethical also. Why it's unethical? Because see, we know that we are not going to provide additional benefit through the universal vaccination those who recover from the COVID. So then, if you are giving vaccine to there are no additional benefit, but there are some adverse event following, although these are the rare, but we are exposing them to a serious adverse event following immunization. And after we have a lot of publications that after COVID, the chances of serious adverse events are more because all these are hyperimmune response. So it's unethical. We are exposing them to at a risk and unscientific also. Other two group, we know that one group is better protected. So our science, currently we are using 33 vaccine. Long term, this vaccine ka kya effect hoga, we don't know. So for science also, we must have a comparator group. Those who recover from COVID, we can keep them as a comparator group. कि long term effect, good effect क्या है vaccine का, bad effect क्या है, ये जानने के लिए we must have a comparator group. कल अगर हमें आता है कि no, these people are also at the risk of severity and death. Omicron में infection सबको हो रहा है, so severity and death. So then we can vaccinate. But based on the current evidence, so it's time to use the current evidences.
Why we can keep the infected group on hold and give prioritization to those who are more vulnerable and co-virgins who have not been infected.
Yeah. We know science. See, science is evolving. Daily हमने evidence आते हैं. Daily 100 publications, more than 100 publications आ रहे हैं. So we must use. ऐसा नहीं कि जो कल decision लिया उसको हम change नहीं कर सकते. So based on the current evidences, and you asked about the WHO. WHO, why ignoring? In that statement, I have already mentioned this. See, WHO last year when many government agencies said natural infection is protecting, in March 2020 they said no, there is no guarantee of natural immunity. You may get reinfection. So we don't have any evidence because this virus is only 3 months old virus, right? Then in May 2021, they released their advisory and they said that vaccine, natural infection is also providing immunity just like vaccine. And after recovery of natural infection, those who were unfortunate, they died. In their advisory on the 10th of May 2021, they said that almost 90 to 99% individuals are developing neutralizing antibodies after the natural infection, and it's providing equal protection. Even if though if providing equal protection, but they never said they do not need vaccination.
जो उनके प्रभु है Grow plus.
We now enter the second session, but before we enter the second session, let me remind you that we are live on YouTube and Facebook. So the second session we have, the second session is on experts' recommendation for comorbid safety measures and in COVID times. We have with us Dr. Vikas Oswal, the Managing Director, Jiva Foundation, and a pioneer in private-public NGO partnership. He motivated almost all the private chest physicians in Mumbai to join and work along with the public sector and played a major role in their collaborations with the public. He was given the Services to Humanity Award by Mumbai Mayor Sri Sunil Prabhu. Next, we have Dr. Prashant Saxena, Director and Head Pulmonology and Sleep Medicine, Associate Director Critical Care at Max Smart Hospital. With more than 14 years of experience, he holds clinical expertise in management of various respiratory conditions, including asthma, COPD, respiratory failure, ILD, pulmonary hypertension, cystic fibrosis, sleep disorders, smoking cessation, tuberculosis, bronchitis, pleural diseases, and lung cancer. We also have Dr. Neha Gupta, Consultant Internal Medicine, Medanta, the Medicity. She has wide experience in diagnosis and management of infections across specialty, which she acquired from national and international institutions. These have important applications in every field of medicine and surgery. Dr. Kishan Yadav is a consultant cardiologist at Yatharth Hospital, Noida. Dr. Rahul Kakkar is a renowned diabetologist in Delhi with over 20 years of experience. He is a certified specialist in reversing type 2 diabetes and insulin resistance with lifestyle medicine. My first question to you, Dr. Oswal, you're there?
Good morning.
Good morning. I just wanted to ask you whether is it Jiva Foundation or Giva Foundation?
It's Jiva. Good
Jiva.
Initiative and Voluntary Actions.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I had this doubt in my mind. Well, my first question to you is the Union Health Ministry has advised the COVID-19 patients to undergo tests for tuberculosis and other conditions if cough persists for more than 2 to 3 weeks. The ICMR has also listed active TB as a COVID-19 comorbid condition. Your comments?
Yeah. So there are two things. Initially, also, when there was a cough persisting more than 2 weeks, we used to get our sputum examination done, the cough to be checked for tuberculosis. But during this COVID era, it has become very important for all of us to focus on this. If you have cough with COVID, maybe now or in past recent COVID, maybe around a month or so, you need to have checked or diagnosed the reason of your cough, because in COVID, we do give steroids sometimes for management of COVID, which may flare up the disease if you have underlying tuberculosis. So you need to cross-check and be rest assured that there is no underlying tuberculosis within your system. Right now in Mumbai has become a high prevalent zone for tuberculosis, where India is contributing 29% of tuberculosis all over the world. So just imagine the tuberculosis infection what is there right now in India. Every third person which you are crossing across the road is having infection, and every fifth person amongst them is if disease, who is having active disease right now. So if you have cough and you were infected with COVID or recent infection of COVID, please do check and confirm whether you have underlying tuberculosis or not.
Yeah, I think there's a slight problem with your internet. I hope it gets rectified. My next question to you, Doctor, is the Indian government. Indian government's TB division had advised bidirectional screening for TB in COVID-19 patients and vice versa after the first wave in 2020. Does that imply that COVID virus pulls down your immune system, which could result in latent TB turning into an active infection? Dr. Oswal, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can. So I just off my camera right now.
Okay,
so
okay, no problem.
I'm audible.
You're audible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect, right. So latent infection basically is somewhere a disease with a tuberculosis which is lying down in your system but still not active. Okay.
Yeah.
So if your immune system is good, you still can overcome the problem. No problem at all. But if you have a recent COVID, immune system crashes down. This latent infection will start replicating in your body and your system, and then you will turn into an active disease. Since in COVID, we also use steroids at the higher dosages sometimes if you have a moderate or a severe COVID disease. So these steroids may also lead to this underlying latent infection to turn into or transform into an active disease where you will have to be treated for tuberculosis also.
So basically, you have to very seriously look at tuberculosis as one of the comorbid conditions.
Definitely. Because right now we are facing with both the problems in India and Mumbai, especially, that is COVID as well as tuberculosis, both together.
Okay.
And the treatment of both are going to hamper each other.
Okay. I'll come back to you, Dr. Oswal. My next question to Dr. Prashant Saxena. Dr. Saxena, you are a sleep disorder expert. A recent report from Bengaluru says that drowsiness in evenings is common among patients who have recovered from Omicron variant. It affects people in the 35 to 54 age group, while some doctors say that feeling of drowsiness in the evenings is a new sleep cycle-related symptom. Others say that energy levels peak during the afternoons and generally decline towards the evening. This process is probably accelerated for a person who has just recovered from COVID-19. Your take? Dr. Saxena? No, you're very... No, we can't hear you.
Hello. Please increase your audio level.
Audio level, yeah.
Hello.
No, you're still pretty weak. You can probably try switching off your video and then probably relying only on audio.
Hello.
Yeah, now slightly you're clearer. Yeah.
So, are you able to hear?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Now we can hear you. Yes.
So, see, this which is not only weakness, there's malaise, there is see, earlier COVID, we have learned that there's a post-COVID syndrome or the long COVID syndrome. And this syndrome comprises of various features like weakness, not able to sleep properly, not able to eat, loss of appetite, hair loss. All these symptoms were very common after the post-COVID recovery. Now, with the variants, it is very difficult to pinpoint that Omicron is causing weakness in the evening only. So I believe this is a overestimation of the variants, symptoms. But I believe it's part of the post-COVID recovery syndrome, which happens with any viral illness or any other stressful illness and during the recovery period. And these syndromes, basically it's all about nourishment and nutrition. I have seen in my experience a lot of these patients, once you are giving them supplements properly, like vitamin D3, calcium, and B complex, B12, omega-3 fatty acids. These patients respond wonderfully to these supplements, and these symptoms gradually wane. And sleep cycle definitely gets disturbed during the COVID because you are ill, you are not able to sleep properly. There are various symptoms, but you have to emphasize on the patients that they have to maintain their sleep cycle, and that's how you can get away by these symptoms.
So it's more a sort of a stress-related problem.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's
So
stress of the illness. Stress of the illness.
Okay. And Dr. Saxena, during the initial waves of COVID, the lungs were most commonly affected organs. It is said that post-COVID lung fibrosis could be the tsunami that will follow the earthquake caused by COVID. Has this threat waned with the Omicron variant?
Yeah, so we have all seen that Omicron variant is very different from the Delta variant.
No, we can't hear you. I think, again, there is an audio problem.
So I believe that the Omicron variant is very different from the other variants, and it has caused very mild disease this time. And most of the time, the symptoms are mild sore throat, scratchy throat, and nasal symptoms like sneezing, some nasal discharge. Some people, like 5% people, do develop respiratory symptoms, and they also are not very severe. Very few people have required hospitalization, like 1 to 2% patient only who have reached the ICUs or the hospitals. So it is a relatively safe, I should say, safer variant to have as compared to the previous one. And we have not seen any patient with post-Omicron fibrosis or post-Omicron residual lung problems so far.
No, fine. I'll come back to you, Doctor. I'll come to Dr. Neha Gupta. Dr. Neha, it's wonderful having you again on our session. I think last session also we had a lot of interaction with you. You have wide experience in diagnosis and management of infections across specialties that have application during and after surgeries. Now, a new study by AIMS in New Delhi says that unlike during the earlier surge of pandemic, surgeries are safe and not associated with higher chances of complications or deaths in those with Omicron variant. The Union government has also endorsed this view and said patients should not be denied surgery. Your comments?
Yes, this is absolutely true. This is mostly because of the change in the virulence of the Omicron variant this time. So the earlier COVID variant were much more seriously causing the disease. And we really didn't know how this COVID is going to evolve, what is going to be the various manifestations. And in fact, in the first wave, just before the first wave, it was very difficult to even know what is going to be the treatment strategy for such patients. Slowly, of course, we evolved into this is how the patients need to be managed, but still the severity of the disease was not known, and that is why during the second wave, it was only during the around first and second, only the emergency surgeries were performed. The elective procedures were all delayed. Why this was done was, first of all, it would result in again transmission of infection to patients who do not have COVID-19, and in case they develop COVID-19, then again the complications are going to be more. This was also because hello. This was also because if suppose the patient develops COVID-19, then he goes into the COVID-19 ward, ICU, where the kind of care is going to be a little more different. So in the earlier waves or with the earlier variants, yes, only emergency surgeries. But now with the Omicron variant, definitely we can perform the routine procedures as well, because the risk of transmission, although is high, but it is definitely resulting in a mild disease. And most of the patients are not needing steroids until unless there is a comorbidity. Even this time we have seen that patients who are very obese, which was one of the risk factors for a severe COVID-19, even those patients have done. I mean, they've just got over with a mild disease itself. So it's very rare that patients very rarely patients are needing steroids or even hospitalization during this particular wave with the Omicron variant.
Fine. My next question is, the pandemic has led to a major decrease in the use of health services unrelated to COVID-19. Even though JAMA Internal Medicine maintains that sometimes less healthcare can be better, a positive aftermath is that it may become clearer what and which medical care is necessary and what is not, so that there is no wastage of healthcare resources. Your take.
So I think there is always a need for a balance. Something which is more is also not good, and of course less will also result in undetected problems, which may be then later on diagnosed at a stage where they cannot be treated. So of course, earlier there was there was a thought process even from the public that, oh, let's just go for regular health check, which is definitely needed, but probably a lot of people were crowding into the hospitals as well. So I would say that yes, it basically requires a balance, and regular health checks are needed also to prevent a lot of diseases which are preventable.
So you're taking the Buddha's middle path.
Yes, yes.
That's safe. Okay. Okay, thank you. Over to you, Kishore.
थैंक यू मिस्टर शंकर। मेरा पहला सवाल कार्डियोलॉजिस्ट डॉक्टर कृष्ण यादव से है, लेकिन आपसे सवाल पूछने से पहले मैं अपने दर्शकों को ये बता देना चाहता हूं कि आज हमारे मंच पर देश के जाने माने डॉक्टर्स और दूसरे एक्सपर्ट्स मौजूद हैं जो आपको कोविड से और कोमॉर्बिडिटीज के बारे में अच्छी जानकारी दे रहे हैं। और हम ये भी बता देना चाहते हैं कि हमारा ये शो दुनिया भर में यूट्यूब और फेसबुक पर इस वक्त लाइव देखा जा रहा है और काफी दर्शकों के हमारे पास रिस्पॉन्स भी आ रहे हैं, सवाल भी आ रहे हैं। डॉक्टर कृष्ण यादव, अगर किसी को हाई ब्लड प्रेशर की शिकायत है और वो दवा लेते हैं और दवा से उसको कंट्रोल में रखते हैं और उन्हें कोविड इन्फेक्शन होता है, तो ये कितना खतरनाक है? और दूसरा, इस क्वेश्चन का दूसरा पार्ट ये भी है कि कई लोगों में ये देखा गया है कि वो बिल्कुल नॉर्मल है, बीपी की कोई शिकायत नहीं है, लेकिन कोविड इन्फेक्शन के बाद जब वो ठीक होते हैं, नेगेटिव होते हैं, उसके बाद उनको हाई बीपी होने लगता है। तो ये समस्या क्या टेम्पररी है या फिर उनको दवा पे मेडिकेशन पे जाना पड़ेगा?
देखिए सर, इसमें क्या है कि जिस पेशेंट को पहले से बीपी है और बीपी की मेडिसिन रेगुलर ले रहा है और वो कंट्रोल चल रहा है, उसको सडनली पता चलता है कि कोविड है, फीवर है। उस फीवर में अर्ली स्टेज जो रहती है, जिस टाइम पे फेब्राइल इलनेस स्टार्ट है, उस टाइम पे ब्लड प्रेशर में फ्लक्चुएट टू द लोअर साइड। तो जो पब्लिक को मेरा मैसेज ये रहेगा कि जो पेशेंट ऑलरेडी बीपी की दवाइयां ले रहा है, उसको कोविड इन्फेक्शन हुआ अर्ली स्टेज में, तो बीपी मॉनिटरिंग इज द फर्स्ट पॉइंट। If required, the BP medicine dose should be reduced in the early phase, and after that, when the recovery starts, then again the blood pressure may shoot over the level which is he prevented by the same medicine. Just then, that time may require the increased dose of the medicine. So during this COVID illness, the patient should monitor the blood pressure from the starting of the illness to the recovery, and may after for 3 months also. Because after this viral illness, then hypercoagulable stage will go on proceed in the body that may increase the blood pressure by the sympathetic overdrive also. So blood pressure management requires the BP monitoring from starting of the illness till the recovery and post recovery 3 to 6 months.
दूसरा, इसी सवाल का दूसरा पार्ट जो था, जो जिसको कि हाई बीपी की कोई समस्या नहीं है, लेकिन कोविड के बाद उनको बीपी हो गया, तो क्या वो टेम्पररी फेज है?
Yes, it could be temporary, or it may be like the patient already had the blood pressure, but he didn't notice that one. इसके दो पहलू हो सकते हैं सर। ये भी हो सकता है कि पेशेंट को पहले से ब्लड प्रेशर चल रहा था, उसको कोविड हुआ, उस टाइम पे उसको पता चला कि मेरे को ब्लड प्रेशर है। तो जरूरी नहीं है कि वो कोविड के इलनेस की वजह से हुआ, हो सकता है पहले से हो। एक दूसरा पॉइंट ये है कि उसको सच में नहीं था पहले, अभी कोविड इन्फेक्शन हुआ और उसके बाद नॉर्मली रिकवरी फेज में जब सिंपैथेटिक एक्टिविटी ज्यादा रहती है उस टाइम पे ब्लड प्रेशर मे फ्लक्चुएट फॉर हायर साइड, बट इट माइट बी नॉट फॉर लॉन्ग ड्यूरेशन. It also depends कि after 3 to 6 months how it will behave.
डॉक्टर राहुल कक्कड़, अगर किसी को टाइप 2 डायबिटीज है और वो नियंत्रण में है, वो एक्सरसाइज करते हैं और सारे प्रिकॉशंस लेते हैं, नियंत्रण में है, और उनको कोविड इन्फेक्शन होता है, तो वो कितना फेटल होता है?
टाइप 2 डायबिटीज अगर नियंत्रण में है तो जनरली वो कंडीशन जिस कंडीशंस की वजह से टाइप 2 डायबिटीज नियंत्रण के बाहर जाती है, जैसे कि मोटापा, स्ट्रेस, अनबैलेंस लाइफस्टाइल, तो नियंत्रण में अगर टाइप 2 डायबिटीज है तो इसका ये मतलब है कि उस आदमी का स्ट्रेस लेवल मोस्टली कंट्रोल में है, वो आदमी मोटापे से थोड़ा सा दूर है, उसका बाकी न्यूट्रिशन वगैरह ठीक चल रहा है. तो इन कंडीशंस के अंदर अगर HbA1c जो हम मॉनिटर करते हैं, जो कि डायबिटीज के बारे में बताता है कि वो वेल कंट्रोल्ड है कि नहीं है, 6.5 के ऊपर जैसे HbA1c होता है तो उसको डायबिटीज होता है. अगर 8 के नीचे HbA1c है तो कंट्रोल बहुत अच्छा चल रहा है. और अगर टाइप 2 डायबिटीज का कंट्रोल अच्छा चल रहा है तो जरूरी नहीं है कि कोविड के सिवियरिटी वगैरह उन मरीजों में देखी जाए.
एक कोविड डायबिटीज जो टर्म बना है कि कोविड इन्फेक्शन होने के बाद उनको डायबिटीज हो जाता है, तो क्या ये परमानेंट होता है, उनको मेडिकेशन पे जाना पड़ेगा, या ये समय के साथ अपने आप ठीक हो जाता है?
सर, इसके अंदर ये है कि मॉनिटर करते रहना चाहिए. परमानेंट है या वो टेम्पररी है, इसको स्पेकुलेट करे के बिना आप मॉनिटर करते रहिए. अगर लग रहा है कि डायबिटीज आपका कंट्रोल आ रहा है, शुगर नीचे होने लग रहा है, आपको सिम्टम्स आ रहे हैं कि आपका शुगर फॉल हो रहा है, तो उस केस के अंदर दवाइयाँ आपको कम करके मॉनिटर अपना चालू रखना चाहिए. आप डायबिटीज की दवाइयाँ कम कर दीजिए, शुगर मॉनिटरिंग कीजिए, उसके बाद कई चीज़ों में रिवर्ट हो जाता है. क्योंकि कई बार तो क्या होता है कि इलनेस का स्ट्रेस हो गया, इन्फ्लेमेशन बॉडी में बढ़ गया. जो हार्मोन्स इन्फ्लेमेशन में बढ़ते हैं, वो इन्फ्लेमेशन मतलब स्ट्रेस, बॉडी को जब भी स्ट्रेस होगा तो एक्ट करने के लिए ताकत चाहिए. ताकत कहाँ से आएगी? शुगर से आएगी, तो शुगर बढ़ेगा शरीर में. और दूसरा है कि उससे रिलेटेड मेडिसिन अगर कोविड सिवियरिटी की तरफ था, स्टीरॉयड दिए हैं, तो वो कंडीशन वर्सन कर सकती हैं. तो एक बार वो चीजें निकल गई तो हो सकता है कि शुगर कंट्रोल वैसे ही आने लग जाए. तो कईयों की रिवर्स भी हो जाती है, कईयों की कंट्रोल हो जाती है, कईयों की वर्सन हो जाती है.
बिल्कुल एक ऐसा ही उल्टा मामला है जिसका मैं उदाहरण हूँ. 20-25 दिन पहले मुझे कोविड इन्फेक्शन हुआ. मैं टाइप 2 डायबिटिक हूँ और एक्सरसाइज वगैरह, वॉक वगैरह करता हूँ, और फिर भी मेरा मेडिकेशन के बावजूद नॉर्मल के से थोड़ा ऊपर ही रहता है हमेशा. लेकिन कोविड इन्फेक्शन के बाद, नेगेटिव होने के बाद, जब मैं चेक करता हूँ ग्लूकोमीटर से, तो मेरा नॉर्मल से कम आता है, बहुत कम आता है. मतलब 94, 93 इतना ऐसा आता है. जबकि मैं अभी इस समय वॉक भी बंद है, बहुत ज्यादा एक्सरसाइज नहीं, कुछ नहीं है, तब ये आता है. तो क्या कोविड इन्फेक्शन से डायबिटीज शुगर लेवल कम भी होता है?
सर, इसमें यह है कि जैसे जैसे आपका स्ट्रेस लेवल कम होगा, जो हार्मोन मिल्यू आपका बॉडी में चेंज होता है. दूसरी बार क्या होता है कि आप कोविड के ट्रीटमेंट में जो सपोर्टिव केयर लेते हो, जैसे कि आप विटामिन डी सप्लीमेंटेशन ले रहे हो, हाई डोज आपने 60,000 यूनिट विटामिन डी की ले जा रहे हो, तो आपको पता नहीं होता, पहले आपने करा हुआ नहीं है, अगर विटामिन डी आपके अंदर डेफिशिएंसी है तो विटामिन डी डेफिशिएंसी अपने आप से इंसुलिन रेजिस्टेंस का बहुत बड़ा कारण है. तो उन पेशेंट्स में अगर आप विटामिन डी ठीक करते हो तो शुगर कंट्रोल अपने आप बेटर होने लग जाता है. तो ऐसा भी हो सकता है कि जो आपने सपोर्टिव केयर लिया हो, उससे जो डेफिशिएंसीज की वजह से शुगर डिस्टर्ब हो रहा हो वो करेक्ट हो गया. दूसरा, स्ट्रेस चेंज होता है, आपका मेंटल एक्टिविटी चेंज होती है, आपका एक लाइफ की तरफ जो होता है कि भाई इस बीमारी से निकल गए, चलो जो होगा देखा जाएगा. जैसा ही आप अपने उसमें आते हो तो आपको पता नहीं है कि अंदर हार्मोन्स आपके इस हिसाब से चेंज हो जाते हैं.
थैंक यू डॉक्टर साहब, थैंक यू. हम आपसे फिर बात करेंगे अभी थोड़ी देर में. ओवर टू यू मिस्टर शंकर.
Thank you, Kishore. My next question is to Dr. Oswal and to Saxena. I think Dr. Saxena had a common question. Now, researchers are now saying that breathing may be a bigger contributor to spread of TB than coughing. the signatures, which was once a signature system. As much as 90% of TB bacteria released from the infected person may be carried in tiny droplets called aerosols that are expelled from a person when a person exhales deeply. The coronavirus too spreads in aerosols carried aloft, particularly in indoors. What are your comments, starting with Dr. Oswal?
Yeah. So droplet infections are always known to be the most commonest cause for spread of infection. So this TB are just hardly of about 0.4 microns, which is very, very, very minute, cannot be seen by the naked eye. And one single cough releases 4,500 bacilli, bacteria. And out of those 4,500 bacteria, which they keep on floating in the air for good at least 45 minutes to 55 minutes. And within this period of time, if you just happen to pass over the same environment, and if your immune system is on the lower side, the bacteria may enter your system and then start replicating it. If your immune system was good, the bacteria may still enter your system, but it won't replicate. It will be in a dormant phase, the term which we call as a latent phase. The same happens with deep breathing also. In deep breathing, this is a difference between a COVID spread and a tuberculosis spread. In COVID, it is very fast spreading because of the aerosolic spread, what we have, just by air. You just breathe in, breathe out, and you just spreading COVID. But same doesn't apply for tuberculosis. Tuberculosis, one single TB patient can infect or may make 12 patients in a year, whereas one single COVID patients make 12 patients in one day. So there's a difference between the spread of TB and COVID. That's the reason COVID has spread it so fast all across the world, whereas tuberculosis still is lying down somewhere as a pocket in a high burden countries or high burden cities somewhere.
Dr. Saxena, your take?
That I agree with Dr. Oswal. See, COVID virus is far more infectious and the R naught is much more higher than the tuberculosis bacilli. So it can infect a lot of people in a short span of time as compared to the tuberculosis. As far as the transmission dynamics are concerned, see, whether coughing generates a lot of bacilli as compared to breathing. But both the modes, coughing and breathing, emit out droplets. So transmission is possible even if you are breathing or you are coughing. So we have to take care of that aspect. Number two, the tuberculosis bacilli can also survive longer as compared to the Omicron bacilli on the surfaces. So it can stay longer suspended in the air. It can stay on the walls. It can stay on the other surfaces much longer than the Omicron virus. So we have to take the surface precautions also as far as the tuberculosis bacilli is concerned for a longer time. Then definitely all these diseases are a matter of immunity. The incubation period of Omicron is less than the tuberculosis. So Omicron manifests signs symptoms early as compared to tuberculosis. So there is a difference in both these two things, but definitely both are droplet infections and can be transmitted by air or coughing.
Yeah, I now come to Dr. Yadav. Dr. Yadav, is it safe for cardiac patients to take vaccination against COVID?
Yes, sir. It is very much safe to take the vaccine. In fact, I advise my patient who are visiting on OPD that you should take both the vaccine.
So people need not be worried about that.
Yeah, should not be worried. Yes, of course.
Yeah. Now, Dr. Kakkar, my question to you is, you are a certified specialist in reversing type 2 diabetes. In these times of fat diets and quick weight loss programs, diabetes reversal has become a topic of hot discussion, especially on social media platforms. While such a reversal is possible for some people with type 2 diabetes, there are facets about reversal of diabetes which people are not aware of. What's your comment on this?
Diabetes reversal is possible now, and what the definition and what the word they are using for the reversal of diabetes is diabetes remission. They are saying that like arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, all the other chronic diseases, there are two phases of the illness. One is whether the disease is in a remission phase or whether the disease is in a relapse phase. So similarly, a similar term has been started now that your diabetes is in remission. And once that remission period has prolonged over a period of time, they say that now you can say that the diabetes has been reversed if you have been maintaining a normal HbA1c of more than 1 year without any medications of diabetes. So about the diabetes reversal is generally seen in patients who are overweight. And because overweight patients, the insulin resistance is very high because the insulin receptors are covered by fat cells. And once you start losing the weight, and once you start having a diet that is a calorie restricted diet. So again, calorie restricted diet helps in weight reduction, and weight reduction, if your BMI is high, helps in reversal of the diabetes. But this is poorly correlated if a patient already is having a BMI in the normal range or lower range. In those cases, it is difficult that the patient would be progressing towards a reversal or a remission side. But it is mainly seen in persons who are overweight and who engage in a weight loss program and get in a balanced diet with a calorie restriction. In those cases, it is achievable.
Fine. My next question is to Dr. Neha Gupta. Dr. Neha, my team reminded me that you have come for the first time on our show, but I said I've seen you before. I don't know where I saw you. Probably you can blame it on a post-COVID syndrome that I have. Must be, recognizing you somewhere, and a lot of things are happening to the human brain these days. But anyway, Dr. Neha, I would like to ask you, what would be your ultimate message, New Year message to our viewers regarding, healthy lifestyle, especially in this COVID era? And do you really believe that we are seeing the last phase or the end of COVID?
Okay, so I have definitely come for the first time, and it has been a pleasure. I would also like to introduce myself. I've been associated with Medanta the Medicity from 2013 to 2021. And I'm now a senior consultant in infectious diseases in Fortis Memorial Research Institute, as well as I have an infectious diseases clinic in Gurgaon. Now, in fact, the logo of my clinic says that if you have health, you have everything. So this is something which is very, very important. And the most important wealth is our own health. And when we talk about the COVID-19 variants, and definitely with even when this novel COVID-19 had come up, the way the pandemics have ended is that the virus will evolve into a much milder variant, which will just cause a mild illness, because in case if it is causing a severe disease with the person, even the virus will die. So virus also wants to live for a longer time. It definitely will cause the infections, but in a manner that it also survives. So this is how the natural evolution of the viruses would be, and perhaps we are seeing it in this particular way. Mostly, yes, 2022 should be the end of COVID-19, but this is something which we are predicting, and nobody really knows what's going to happen in the future. But hopefully, yes. This, and coming to vaccinations as well, there was the experts, even Dr. Gagandeep Kang was saying that probably even when we talk about the booster doses of COVID-19, maybe just the third booster is what we need at the most, and it will not be really an annual vaccination.
Thank you very much, Neha. I think you added a philosophical background to the COVID of coexistence. Thank you very much. And over to you, Kishore.
थैंक यू सर। मैं आगे सवाल पूछूं डॉक्टर विकास ओसवाल से, उससे पहले एक ब्रेकिंग न्यूज़ है, एक दुखद न्यूज़ है कि हम सबकी चहेती लता मंगेशकर अब इस दुनिया में नहीं रही। 92 इयर्स के एज में उन्होंने अंतिम सांस ली। भगवान उनकी आत्मा को शांति दे। हील फाउंडेशन की तरफ से उनको श्रद्धांजलि। डॉक्टर विकास, कई मरीजों में ये देखा गया है कि ओमिक्रॉन के इन्फेक्शन के बाद एंटीबॉडीज नहीं बने हैं। ऐसा क्यों? क्या ये सच है या ये एक दो रेयरेस्ट ऑफ रेयर केस?
नहीं, होता है, कई केसेस में ऐसा होता है कि ओमिक्रॉन के बाद एंटीबॉडीज तैयार नहीं होती है। इसमें कोई दिक्कत की बात नहीं है। बेसिकली इवन आफ्टर वैक्सीन, कभी कभी वैक्सीन लेने के बाद भी एंटीबॉडी नहीं होती है, तो कोई टेंशन की बात नहीं है। आप फिलहाल जैसे आप रूटीन जो कर रहे हैं आप करिए, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। एंटीबॉडीज की टेंशन मत लीजिए। हालांकि एंटीबॉडीज सब लोग जो टेस्ट करते हैं वो सिर्फ साधारण एंटीबॉडीज टेस्ट करते हैं। वी रिक्वायर टू चेक आवर स्पाइक एंटीबॉडीज। दे आर डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ स्पाइक प्रोटीन एंटीबॉडीज व्हिच वी कॉल्ड, and you just require to focus them. If you have those spike protein antibodies, then there is nothing to worry. Okay. हम जो एंटीबॉडीज जो पूछते हैं लैब में, हम सिर्फ जाके पूछते हैं कि आपको एंटीबॉडीज चेक कराना है कोविड का, वैसे नहीं होता है। वो स्पाइक प्रोटीन एंटीबॉडीज एक दूसरी होती है और यूजुअली वो पाई जाती है।
डॉक्टर प्रशांत सक्सेना, जब से पेंडेमिक शुरू हुआ है मास्क को एकमात्र और सबसे बड़ा प्रिवेंशन माना जा रहा है, लेकिन लोगों में ये शक है, लोगों में ये डर है कि मास्क के कुछ साइड इफेक्ट भी हैं, क्योंकि हम जो सांस छोड़ रहे हैं वही सांस ले रहे हैं और उसके कारण फेफड़े पे कोई असर भी हो सकता है। कृपया ये बताएं कि ये मिथ है या इसमें कोई सच्चाई है।
सर, इसमें 2-3 चीजें हैं। एक तो ध्यान रखना है कि जो लोग N95 मास्क पहनते हैं, N95 मास्क जो होता है वो एक डिस्पोजेबल मास्क होता है। N95 मास्क की जो एवरेज ड्यूरेशन है वो 8 से 10 घंटे काम करता है लगातार यूजेज पे। तो अगर आपने उसको कंटिन्यूअसली यूज किया हुआ है तो यू हैव टू डिस्पोज इट, डोंट ट्राई टू क्लीन इट, वॉश इट एंड देन रीयूज इट। सो इट इज ऑफ नो यूज आफ्टर 8 to 10 आवर्स। नंबर 2, जो लोग N95 मास्क नहीं पहन रहे हैं या जो लोग 3 प्लाई मास्क या 2 प्लाई मास्क जो कि पब्लिक पहनती है जनरली, वो वाले मास्क हमें ध्यान रखना है कि वो भी अगर हमने दिन भर पहने हैं तो रोज शाम को उसको एक क्लीन डिटर्जेंट में, नॉर्मल सोप वाटर में या क्लीन करके रखना है और सुखा के पहनना है। बिकॉज इफ द मास्क आर मॉइस्ट then moisture will attract the infections. So definitely masks have to be cleaned if they are disposable every day. N95 masks should not be cleaned. And the other thing is that whatever mask you are wearing, you have to be aware of the fact that the seal of the mask around the face should be very tight. It should not be a loose mask. Otherwise, there is no point wearing a mask. Some people are wearing masks with the nose coming out. So the proper way to wear a mask should be ascertained.
थैंक यू डॉक्टर साहब। डॉक्टर नेहा गुप्ता, मेरा सवाल पेन मैनेजमेंट को लेके है। कोविड इन्फेक्शन के बाद बहुत से लोगों में देखा गया है, शिकायत हुई है कि सिर में दर्द है, पीठ में दर्द है, बदन में दर्द है, मसल पेन है, जॉइंट पेन है, चेस्ट पेन है, कईयों में तो ये भी देखा गया है। क्या ये कोविड रिलेटेड प्रॉब्लम है या किसी और वजह से है, और इसके लिए लोगों को क्या करना चाहिए?
देखिए, ये जो आपने सिम्टम्स बताए हैं, ये कोविड से रिलेटेड भी हो सकते हैं या फिर ये किसी और विटामिन डेफिशिएंसी से भी हो सकते हैं। जैसे कि डॉक्टर प्रशांत सक्सेना भी बोल रहे थे कि अगर उनको विटामिन डेफिशिएंसीज है और वो सप्लीमेंटेशन दिया जाता है तो उसके बाद में उनकी ये सिम्टम्स वगैरह या वीकनेस ये सब काफी कम हो जाता है। इनफैक्ट अगर हम ये देखें, हम लोग कई बार जब ये पेशेंट्स आते हैं और उसमें हम सीरम विटामिन B12 कराते हैं तो वो बहुत ही कम पाया गया है। और इंडिया में तो हमें पता ही है कि डिस्पाइट द सनलाइट बहुत सारे पेशेंट्स में विटामिन D डेफिशिएंसी है। सो करेक्शन ऑफ द अंडरलाइंग डेफिशिएंसीज विटामिन D, विटामिन B12 करके हम ये सारे सिम्टम्स काफी हद तक ये कंट्रोल किए जा सकते हैं। दूसरा ये कि हाँ, ये कोविड-19 से रिलेटेड भी हो सकता है। तो ये कोविड-19 से अगर रिलेटेड है तो फिर इसको पोस्ट कोविड-19 सिंड्रोम और फिर अकॉर्डिंगली फिर मैनेज किया जाएगा।
आपने विटामिन डिफिशियंसी की बात की है, ये भी देखा गया कि पिछले 1-2 साल से लोग मल्टीविटामिन खूब ले रहे हैं, तो विटामिन ज्यादा भी ले रहे हैं, क्या इसका भी तो साइड इफेक्ट हो सकता है?
बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल। सो हमेशा लाइफ में एक बैलेंस रहे तो बढ़िया है और ज्यादा भी लेंगे तो भी ठीक नहीं है। जिनकोविड सुबह शाम 15-15 दिन या कोई भी मल्टीविटामिन, आई डोंट वांट टू मेंशन अ ब्रांड, वो भी ज्यादा लेना बिल्कुल ठीक नहीं है। कई बार विटामिन B12 बहुत ज्यादा आता है, मोर देन 1000 आता है लोगों का, तो ये सब प्रॉब्लम हो सकती है। तो अगर लें तो उसको जुडिशियसली लेना चाहिए, ये नहीं कि बस हाँ ले लिया जाए।
थैंक यू नेहा जी, थैंक यू। ओवर टू यू मिस्टर शंकर, अनम्यूट योरसेल्फ।
Thank you. It was a wonderful session. I think a lot of insights, insights into TB and other causes. We wind up this session, and now we have quiz number 2. Quiz number 2 is: which of the following statements is incorrect? People with comorbidities are likely to be affected by COVID-19 more severely than healthy individuals. B, one must discontinue medication for comorbidities during COVID infection. C, vaccines are safe and efficacious for people with underlying medical conditions. D, a weakened immune system due to comorbidities can make the process of recovery slower. The answers would be given at the end of the session. I once more thank all the speakers who are there with us. Wonderful having you all on this show, and hope to see you again on next topics that will be coming up on every Sundays. Thank you. It's a great pleasure seeing you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Pleasure.
We now have Health Nama, a show in Hindi put together by my co-moderator Kishore Malviya. Since its inception, it has climbed the popularity chart on social media. Here is the latest episode of Health Nama.
नमस्कार। हेल्थ नामा में आज हम पेट की कुछ बीमारियों के बारे में बात करेंगे। लिवर और गैस्ट्राइटिस जैसे रोग आजकल घर घर में मौजूद हैं। गलत खान-पान और रहन-सहन की वजह से ये बीमारियां बड़ी तेजी से पैर फैला रही हैं। भले ही लोग इसे मामूली समझकर और केमिस्ट से कोई दवा लेकर तात्कालिक राहत पा लेते हों, लेकिन जिन्हें ये होता है उन्हें ये अच्छी तरह पता है कि इसकी तकलीफ कितनी भयानक और अस्थायी होती है। कई बार तो हार्ट अटैक के लक्षण को भी लोग मामूली गैस का दर्द समझकर नजरअंदाज कर देते हैं। आखिर इस समस्या का परमानेंट सॉल्यूशन है क्या? ये जानने के लिए हमने कई जाने माने गैस्ट्रो और लिवर डिजीज एक्सपर्ट से बात की। प्रस्तुत है उनसे बातचीत के कुछ अंश।
ये गैस्ट्राइटिस की वजह से सीने में तेज दर्द होता है कई बार, और लोगों को लगता है कि ये हार्ट अटैक है। और कई बार ऐसा भी होता है कि उनको हार्ट अटैक का दर्द होता है, लोग समझते हैं कि गैस है और डॉक्टर गूगल से वो दवा पूछ के और खा लेते हैं। आप हमारे दर्शकों को बताइए कि दोनों में वो कैसे अंतर करें।
कई बारी जब ये छाती में इस तरीके से तकलीफ महसूस होती है तो इसमें पेट की बीमारियां और फूड पाइप की बीमारियों की बात आती है। फूड पाइप से संबंधित जो छाती में दर्द उठता है उसका नाम ही हार्ट बर्न बताया गया है। हार्ट बर्न, दैट मीन्स इट कैन मिमिक सिम्टम्स ऑफ हार्ट डिजीज। जो भी लक्षण हमारे यहाँ हम लोग इंटरप्रेट करते हैं वो एक सेटिंग में करते हैं। अब किसी के पास बैकग्राउंड है ब्लड प्रेशर की, डायबिटीज की है, उसके साथ उसको छाती में या कहीं भी अपर चेस्ट में वो हाथ रखता है, तो one has to interpret very cautiously. आजकल the tools are very simple. आपका मरीज ऐसा अगर आता है, आपने एक ECG कर लिया, बहुत जानकारी मिल जाती है। आपने पल्स की रिदम देख ली, आजकल इको भी बहुत जल्दी अवेलेबल हो जाता है। तो अप्रोच तो देखिए ये है कि एक केयरफुल हिस्ट्री लेकर के one should err on the side of precaution.
ये बताइए डॉक्टर साहब, बहुत ज्यादा टी कॉफी लेने से और खास करके बेड टी लेने से भी क्या लिवर पे असर पड़ता है?
सर, कॉफी का अगर आप डाटा देखेंगे तो प्लेन कॉफी इट हैज बीन फाउंड टू बी एंटी फाइब्रोटिक फॉर लिवर। without milk. If you take a black coffee, up to 5 cups of coffee has been found to be anti-fibrotic, that liver को healthy रखने में मदद करती है. Green tea with its antioxidants, plain coffee, they have been found to be good for liver, not bad. But जो अगर आप एक कॉफी ले रहे हैं जिसमें आप नॉर्मल तरीके से चीनी ले रहे हैं, नॉर्मल दूध ले रहे हैं, so then each cup of coffee, जैसे ये लेते हैं, I'll take it as an example here, if you take a milk वाली coffee like this, and then each cup is around 150 kilocalories. तो बेसिकली आप जो अपना खा रहे हैं, कॉफी ले रहे हैं, इसके अंदर कॉफी से ज्यादा आप अपनी कैलोरीज चीनी डाल के साथ में ले रहे हैं, और आपने 5 कप लिए तो 750 किलो कैलोरीज आपने अपनी एक दिन में जस्ट कॉफी से ले ली, कॉफी या टी से ले ली, जितनी आप पी रहे हैं. So you are not counting those calories, you are actually increasing yourself and pushing yourself towards NASH. But if you take a black coffee without sugar or a green tea without sugar, they are actually good for liver, not bad.
अगर किसी को गैस्ट्राइटिस अटैक होता है और बहुत तेज अटैक होता है, तो इमीडिएट रेमेडी क्या है?
गैस्ट्राइटिस एक ब्रॉड टर्म है. गैस्ट्राइटिस का मतलब होता है कि भाई नाभि के ऊपर के एरिया में आपको दर्द होना. मोस्ट ऑफ द पेशेंट्स नॉर्मली यहाँ जो दर्द होता है 3 कारण से होता है. अगर मैं ब्रॉडली देखूं, एक आता है वहां पेट, जिसको आप बोल रहे हैं गैस्ट्राइटिस, जो कि पेट में आपको सूजन, मतलब इट्स इन्फ्लेमेशन, लाल रेडनेस हो गई है पेट जिसे. और दूसरा जो यहाँ दर्द आता है, जो सिवियर पेन जो आता है, ये एरिया में 3 कारण है जिससे मैं नॉर्मल कॉमन देखता हूँ. एक है अगर आपका गाल ब्लैडर का स्टोन का दर्द, दूसरा आता है पेनक्रियास का, और तीसरा बहुत रेयर थोड़ों में आता है हार्ट का दर्द. तो अगर आप गैस्ट्राइटिस लेके चले, नॉर्मली गैस्ट्राइटिस में ये होता है कि अगर मेरे पास जो पेशेंट कैसे आता है गैस्ट्राइटिस का, वो आता है भाई आपने खाना खाया, उसके बाद पेट में जलन होना, पेट का फूलना, डकारे आना, सीने में जलन, चेस्ट बर्निंग. तो ये मैं इनको एसिडिटी के लक्षण बोलूंगा. तो नॉर्मली जब ये ऐसे जो मेरे पास पेशेंट आते हैं, उनके इमीडिएट रेडिकेटी के लिए एक ग्रुप ऑफ मेडिकेशंस है जिसको हम बोलते हैं प्रोटॉन पंप इनहिबिटर्स, जैसे आपका पेंटोप्राजोल, रेबिप्राजोल, ये हम एसिडिटी की गोली देते हैं. और इंस्टेंट रिलीफ के लिए हम सिरप्स देते हैं, जैसे जो कॉमन अपना ब्रांड बहुत है, जैसे जेल्यूसिल, एमकेएस, ऑल दीज टाइप. दीज आर द थिंग्स जो हम नॉर्मली ये पेशेंट्स को देते हैं गैस्ट्राइटिस.
कोरोना के शिकार लोगों में देखा गया है, काफी लोगों में देखा गया, मैं बहुतों को जानता हूँ जिनको कि ठीक हो जाने का, नेगेटिव होने के बाद भी काफी दिनों तक वो लूज मोशन के शिकार था. क्या ये कोविड इन्फेक्शन का असर है या कोई और वजह? जबकि मैंने कई लोगों ने देखा कि उन्होंने डोलो के अलावा और कुछ नहीं खाया.
देखिए, जैसा मैंने बताया, इंटेस्टाइन में भी ये ACE2 रिसेप्टर्स होते हैं जिससे पे कोविड आता है. जो जब डेल्टा की बात हो रही थी, तो नियरली 20% लोग प्राइमरी सिम्टम डायरिया के साथ प्रेजेंट कर रहे होते थे. ये नोन फैक्ट है. दूसरी चीज है, ये चीज प्रोलॉन्ग हो सकती है. जब भी एक बार डायरिया होता है किसी भी कारण से, तो कई बार इंटेस्टाइन की इरिटेबिलिटी से ये सिम्टम्स परसिस्ट करते हैं, जो पोस्ट इन्फेक्शियस इरिटेबल बाउल सिंड्रोम होता है, यानी कि इंटेस्टाइन की मूवमेंट इम्प्रॉपर होने से ये मोशन बार बार आ सकता है. दूसरा जो कोविड से रिलेटेड ज्यादा यूजुअल चीज है कि एंटीबायोटिक्स, लोग बहुत प्रोफिलैक्टिकली हुआ नहीं और एंटीबायोटिक लेनी शुरू कर दी. थैंकफुली अब ये जैसे जैसे इसके बारे में समझ में आने लगा है. अदरवाइज जब 2020 की बात करें, एजिथ्रोमाइसिन और सारी तमाम एंटीबायोटिक्स लोग बिना किसी डॉक्टर की सलाह के भी लोग ले रहे थे. व्हाट्सएप पे ये मैसेजेस घूम रहे थे कि ये दवाइयों का लिस्ट है, लेना शुरू कर दें. तो उसमें जो होता है ये एंटीबायोटिक एसोसिएटेड डायरिया, ये काफी ज्यादा इंसिडेंस इसका बढ़ा है सेल्फ मेडिकेशन से, या जब मेडिसिन दी भी गई लोगों को, कारण जब उचित था तब भी, उसके बाद एंटीबायोटिक्स लेने से हमारे इंटेस्टाइन का जो नॉर्मल बैक्टीरियल फ्लोरा होता है वो सप्रेस हो जाता है, और जो हार्मफुल बैक्टीरिया होते हैं वो मल्टीप्लाई करते हैं.
अगर मैं गलत नहीं हूँ डॉक्टर साहब, तो आपने मेडिसिन पर ज्यादा निर्भर रहने के बजाय नेचुरल कोर्सेज पर ज्यादा ध्यान देने की बात कही है. आपकी क्या राय है? कोई फिक्स सोल्यूशन है?
देखिए, किसी भी बीमारी में उसके इलाज के लिए जो रास्ता लिया जाता है उस पे केवल दवा का मार्ग नहीं होता है. कहानी शुरू होती है आदमी के तौर तरीके से, और वो अपने आप को किस वातावरण में रख रहा है। इसी को हम लोग कहते हैं लाइफ स्टाइल मॉडिफिकेशंस एंड लाइफ सिचुएशंस। तो जो राय दी जाती है उसमें आपको अपने तौर तरीके सुधारने की राय देना, भोजन पर ध्यान देना, व्यायाम पर ध्यान देना, शारीरिक चुस्ती पर ध्यान देना, इन बातों की भी बहुत अहमियत है, जिसके पहले वो दवाएं जो आप आगे लिखेंगे वो उस एक सेटिंग में काम करेंगी। तो समस्या को देखते हुए एक उचित लाइफस्टाइल और तौर तरीके की राय दी जाती है और फिर ही दवाओं का लाभ मिलता है।
डॉक्टर साहब, एक चीज देखा गया है, कोविड इन्फेक्शन के बाद बहुत लोगों के में लिवर इन्फेक्शन की शिकायत आती है, जीजीटीपी बढ़ गया या एलटी रेशियो बढ़ गया, इस तरह के कई समस्याएं आती है। क्या इसकी कोई और वजह है या कोविड रिलेटेड प्रॉब्लम है?
देखिए, एसजीओटी एसजीपीटी बढ़ना लिवर में इन्फ्लेमेशन का इंडिकेटर होता है। ये मल्टीपल रीजन से हो सकता है। तो जब भी एसजीओटी एसजीपीटी बढ़ा होता है, आप एक तो बैकग्राउंड हिस्ट्री देखते हैं कि क्या ये इंसान पहले अल्कोहल लेता था। दूसरे कारण हेपेटाइटिस बी सी जो कॉमनेस्ट रीजंस होंगे। कोविड स्पेसिफिक अगर हम देखें तो दो इश्यूज होती है कि जैसे कोविड एक तरह का वायरस है, किसी भी वायरल इन्फेक्शन में, जैसे डेंगू में एसजीओटी एसजीपीटी बढ़ जाता है, तो कोविड में भी एसजीओटी एसजीपीटी बढ़ जाता है। और ये देखा गया है कि ये जो ACE2 रिसेप्टर्स होते हैं जिसके जरिए ये लंग में घुसता है, ये ACE2 रिसेप्टर्स इंटेस्टाइन में, बिलियरी सिस्टम में, पैंक्रियाज में, लिवर में, हर जगह होते हैं। तो एक कारण वो होता है। दूसरा, ड्रग इंड्यूस्ड जो काफी सारी दवाइयां यूज की जाती है, खास करके इसमें रेमडेसिविर हेपेटोटॉक्सिक मेडिसिन एक तरह से होती है। तो एक डेफिनेट लेवल से अगर एसजीओटी एसजीपीटी बढ़ा हो तो रेमडेसिविर यूज करना मुश्किल होता है, और जब हम रेमडेसिविर यूज करते हैं तो एसजीओटी एसजीपीटी को मॉनिटर करते हैं। और इसी तरह से और भी मल्टीपल मेडिकेशंस होती है जिसके कारण एसजीओटी एसजीपीटी बढ़ जाता है। अगर ये एक निश्चित लेवल से ज्यादा नहीं बढ़ा है तो ये ज्यादा चिंताजनक बात नहीं है। अगर ये कोविड रिलेटेड है, टाइम के साथ ये नॉर्मल आ जाए।
तो आज के हेल्थनामा में इतना ही। अगली बार हम कुछ और स्वास्थ्य समस्याओं के बारे में बात करेंगे और डॉक्टरों से उनके समाधान के बारे में भी जानेंगे। YouTube में हील टीवी पर जाकर आप सारे वीडियो देख सकते हैं। डॉक्टरों और अन्य स्वास्थ्य विशेषज्ञों के विचारों को विस्तार से सुनने के लिए आप हमारा साप्ताहिक कार्यक्रम Health4All YouTube और Facebook पर लाइव देख सकते हैं, हर रविवार सुबह 8 बजे से 11 बजे तक। नमस्कार। मास्क लगाकर घर से निकलें।
Welcome back. We now have the answers to the 2 quiz that we had asked earlier. Well, here is the answer for quiz number 1, and the question was, in which of the following ways does yoga help managing obesity? And the answer is D, all the above. The second quiz was, which of the following statements is incorrect? Among all the 4 statements, the incorrect statement is one must discontinue medication for comorbidities during COVID infection. Those who answered correctly will get a good participation certificate. Thank you. And now I hand it over to Kishore.
तो आज के एपिसोड में बस इतना ही। इस कार्यक्रम में शामिल सभी डॉक्टरों और विशेषज्ञों का शुक्रिया अदा करते हैं जिन्होंने अपना कीमती समय देकर हमें कोविड मैनेजमेंट के प्रति जागरूक किया है। हम अपने दर्शकों का भी धन्यवाद करते हैं जो लगातार हमारे लाइव शो से जुड़े रहे। हमें पूरी उम्मीद है कि आपको इस कार्यक्रम से लाभ होगा। अगले रविवार को हम फिर मिलेंगे सुबह 8 बजे से, जिसमें हम चर्चा करेंगे सेक्सुअल और रिप्रोडक्टिव हेल्थ के बारे में। तब तक के लिए हमें आज्ञा दें। नमस्कार एंड टेक केयर।